Danny Garcia is a tuna fight. Said Danny is a tuna fight. Danny Garcia is a tuna fight. Said Danny is a tuna fight. Danny Garcia is a tune-up fight. Said Danny is a tune-up fight. Not going to spend a lot of time on Danny Garcia, but I noticed it was brought to my attention because I do not notice these insects which circle at my feet. That Danny Garcia's biggest fan. You guys know who he is. This guy has been pouring a lot of time and a lot of attention into me because of my view of his boy, Danny Garcia. He thinks that Danny Garcia is undefeated. And he can think that inside of his house. But once he steps outside in the real world, Danny Garcia has lost to every solid welterweight he's fought. And I don't care if it was competitive because I didn't ask if it was competitive. Or that is, I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying that he lost to every solid welterweight that he's fought. That's all I'm saying, Nathan, John, George. D was good. Ivan. So Teofimo Lopez, D's boy, he said he released a Twitter statement saying that the fight is going to happen. And, you know, I guess he caught wind of what people were saying about the negotiations and about everything that's happening, why things are happening the way they're happening. But it's just that, look, when you look at the situation as a whole, when you look at the whole situation with Teofimo and everything he said the last couple of months, some of it didn't make sense. He said he wouldn't fight Vasyl Lomachenko in the absence of a crowd, but at the same time, he said he didn't want to take a tune-up fight. When they're telling you, you know, you might have to fight Loma without a crowd, right? And what are you saying? You're saying, well, I don't want to fight without a crowd. All right, then, do you want to take a tune-up? No, I don't want to take a tune-up. He has to be next. All right, bro, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Jesus. D, we're going to argue about this. You know, you know we are. You know, we are, bro.
Oh, shit, dog, you're fucking funny as hell, dog.
Because look,
you already know, man. I know you.
We have very different views on this. I know that you're being a little bit more lenient with Teofimo than I am, but it's because I can't make sense of what he's been saying the last couple of months. Like I said, they asked him months ago, would you fight Vasyl Lomachenko with no crowd? He said no. Then when they recommended that he take a tune-up, what did he say? He said no. I'm like, all right, bro. So like, it can't be both, you know? You say you don't want to fight without a crowd present. Cool. I understand. Fine. You don't want to take it. Fine. I got it. You don't want to fight without a crowd present. That is, you don't want to. And I don't think that was limited to the Lomachenko fight, by the way. But he said he didn't want to fight without a crowd present. So then he said Bob Arum came to him and said, yo, we want you to have an interim fight. We want you to have a tune-up fight. And he said no to that too. So I'm like, bro, like, and then I see the money thing. And I'm like, look, dog, we know damn good and well it would have been more money in the pot if there was a live gate. If there was a live gate, obviously you would have stood to make more than just 1.2. But they're not offering you, like, I cannot look at 1.2 as peanuts because that's what Jorge Linares got for Lomachenko. That's what Jose Pedraza got for Lomachenko.
Hey.
I was going on Boxing Learning.
What's up? See, this is the thing. I'm not. It's like, all right, if he don't take the fight, like, I'm not giving him a pass. I just don't think nobody throwing no heat at Bob Arum. Bob Arum using this pandemic situation as leverage, fam. That's just how I'm looking at it. And he trying to cut this young boy down. I mean, of course, the fans are gonna be mad the fight not happening. That's the illusion for Bob Arum. But Bob Arum need to come out the pocket a little more. I'm not saying need to pay him 50-50 or whatever the nonsense is, but bro, come on, you know what 1.2 is after everything's gone, Julius. Like,
exactly.
I don't disagree with you, bro. I don't disagree with you, but me and you put the blame in different places. See, I put the blame on ESPN more than I put it on Bob because Bob is losing bread. You got to understand that. Bob is losing bread, right? Bob
Right.
doesn't have it to spare. And I firmly believe that Bob doesn't have it to spare. He hasn't put on a big fight in a while. He doesn't have it to spare. ESPN, however, if you're invested in Top Rank and you're invested in this fight, what's $1 million to ESPN? What's $2 million to ESPN? I read the article, right? And it sounded like Bob was taking all the risk financially, that the money that's being put up is basically just coming up from Bob. And I'm thinking, well, why don't ESPN throw Teofimo like a little million off the top? They got it. It ain't like they don't have it. But at the same time, if you think about it from where ESPN is sitting, they're thinking like, okay, look, it's not that Teofimo don't have potential. He has potential. He could be bigger. And we know that this could be a bigger fight if there was a crowd. But based on where he's at right now, we don't know that he could bring us back that million. We don't know that because he's only 15-0. He's only been a champion for 10 seconds.
My problem is I don't believe Bob, man. I don't believe that goddamn song he crying. I don't want to hear that song he crying, bro. The wolf tickets Bob selling, I ain't buying it. This motherfucker Bob full of shit. I don't believe a damn thing he's saying.
All right, go ahead, John. Let's get John in on this. John, what you think about it?
Well, my thing is, this isn't a big money fight. It's pretty much what Eddie Hearn said in his interview, that he was surprised that Teofimo wasn't going to have a few more defenses and build his name up that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the numbers that Loma did against Luke Campbell in the UK, they're not good. It's something. It's reported at 205,000 pay-per-view buys at £20, which is like $25.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not even $500,000, is it?
I mean, I don't think so. But how I heard,
So,
well, not I heard.
I have done the maths, and what was it? It works out. I've got it written down somewhere. I'll come back to you with the exact maths, but in terms of purses, the difference between what they cleared in the UK on a pay-per-view with a sold-out stadium and the 3.6 plus 1.2 is 4.8, isn't it? So only $2 million on top of that, based on what they did in the UK.
I think that the bulk of what they must have got, because I read that the buys wasn't great, but the bulk of what they got from the Campbell fight, that would have had to have been from the live gate. Like they probably made more.
Live gate probably isn't worth much more than 1.7 million, Julius, because the tickets range from £50 up to £600, and then you've got the VIP section, but that's not very big.
Are we talking?
It's somewhere between 1.7 and 2 million. The live gate, the O2, on those sort of prices. It's not huge.
I didn't know that.
The official pricing ranges from £50 up to £600. So it's hard to get an exact figure on it. So it's somewhere between those figures, not the VIP on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Those figures are somewhere between 1.8 and £2 million. And then you've got the VIP on top of that. But I mean, again, what's that going to be? Even if they're like 10 grand a ticket, it's still not a huge amount of money. But you're going to put an extra 100 grand on it.
Let's look across the board, because the way I look at it is like this, right? A big name, because it's true. Vasyl Lomachenko, he's a name. He's the biggest name at 135, yes. But that don't mean a lot in the greater scheme of things. It don't. Like, he's not a superstar. Like, really, he's not a superstar. He's not a superstar. Yeah. He's more global. He's more global than a lot of the fighters that fight at 135 and 130. He's more global, but that's relative. You see what I'm saying? That's like, yeah, if anybody's known over here, it's you, but you're not a superstar. So let's look at how a superstar is holding up. Canelo motherfucking Alvarez. Canelo having the same issues, bro. To a lesser extent, he having the same issues to where, like, bro, it's been months. They should have pinned down who you was gonna fight by now. But what's the issue? Pandemic. The money that you would have made that makes people even want to fight you, right? The money that you normally bring in is not there because it might not be a crowd. So now what they talking about, what I'm hearing, is they might wait till November or December for him to return to the ring. Because it's like, bro, why come back in September when it might not be a crowd, when if we wait 2 months, we could get money. You know, we could get the money that we normally get. Even Canelo's experiencing it. So if Canelo's experiencing it, Lomachenko got to be experiencing it because you not a pay-per-view guy over here, nor have you ever been. So when I see that, like, okay, Bob is willing to put up 1.2, yeah, I could believe that because Bob needs to deliver. But I feel like ESPN is shorting them because they don't believe in Lopez. Like, they like, you know what? It's a good fight, don't get me wrong, but we might take a bath in this one because Loma's not a star and he's the biggest name. He's the biggest name in this fight. Lopez can't be a star if Loma ain't a star. So how are we gonna get our money back if we put it up? How are we gonna get it back? There's no crowd.
Now that makes sense. That does make sense, but even still, fuck Bob. Come up off the money. I don't want to do it.
Just a little bit higher.
But the thing is, D, right? If Bob did pay the purses, because I've found it now. If Bob paid the purses for the Loma Campbell fight, the fight itself generated, what was it, 4.1 million on pay-per-views in pounds, and 2 million on live gate. Call it 2.2 just to be on the safe side. That's still only 6.3 million. And if they paid Campbell more than 1.2, and they paid him as a mandatory at 25% of Loma's, they actually lost money on that fight.
Possibly,
because
yeah. The only other way they could have made any money back is networks abroad that bought the rights.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall they probably walked away with it with some money, but you're not laying out all that money in terms of purses to not make a good return, are you?
Oh no, of course. I mean, look, that's the whole point. That let me just say this, and I'm gonna pass it to D. I don't think they took a bath per se because networks like I don't know if ESPN in Mexico bought it, though I'm pretty sure they did because they show the fights too. All these different networks around the world, they pay a flat fee to be able to show the fight in a region. So if you made money back, it would have been off of that, not just the live gate and not just the domestic pay-per-view buys, but whatever it was, you know, whatever they paid in the States to show it, obviously, whatever they paid in foreign territories to show it. So I don't think they took a complete bath, right? But when you look at Lomachenko versus Lopez, it's kind of the same situation. That's why I'm thinking, like, look, if the difference between making a fight is ESPN putting up, let's say, $800,000 extra on top of what Bob put in, or $1 million on top of what Bob put in, put it the fuck up. You got it. Put it up.
Yeah. And see, and I'm just like this, man, with Bob Arum. And I understand the business. Don't get me wrong. Like, you guys speaking sense, but with Bob Arum, his motherfucker done robbed boxing enough. I'm not trying to hear what Bob can afford or what risks Bob need to take. I mean, come on, man. This Bob Arum. He done robbed this shit out of us, the fans, and boxing enough. Trust me. This dude is the guru of this shit. So with Bob Arum, I don't want to hear it. Look, he could probably offer the kid. Let's be realistic now. Okay, the kid might say 3 million or whatever. Okay, it sounds ridiculous. But the 1.2 million sounds ridiculous to Teofimo and team.
I can't agree with you, D. If Jorge Linares took hold on, I gotta say this. If Jorge, who was a 3-division champion, Ring Magazine champion, WBA champion, if 1.2 was good enough for him when there wasn't a pandemic, when there wasn't something preventing people from going to the fight, then 1.2 should be good for a kid who's 15-0 and only fought for $500,000 in his last fight.
What was the initial agreement made for?
That's the thing. They said that they had not come to an initial financial agreement. Fucking bugs. They said that they had not. They said that they had not sorted that out. But it's common sense in a sense that if there was going to be a gate, I think what they would have been given Teofimo would have looked something like maybe 2 flat, 3 flat, and maybe 30% or maybe 30% of the upside. I don't know. I'm speculating because when you got the crowd there and you're gonna have it at MSG, all right, now we cooking with rice. Like now you got some real money in the pot. But in the absence of that, and motherfuckers is downplaying it, bro. Look, ain't nobody gonna put up money to lose money. I'm sorry, like I would like that's ludicrous to me. That's why I'm like, yo, everybody downplaying what's going on. Nobody's gonna put up $1 million to lose $1 million, bro. Nobody want to take a bath. Al Heyman don't want to take a bath. Bob Arum don't want to take a bath. Frank Warren don't want to, but he is taking a bath. Eddie Hearn, why you think Joshua not coming back till December?
Eddie Hearn was very upfront and talked about it openly. He said he can't do any of those sort of fights until he can get some gate revenue. And to be honest with you, D, I've kind of got a bit of a middle ground because I think Bob's manoeuvred this in a bit of a snaky way.
That's what I'm talking about.
To put the dirt on Tio because he doesn't want to make the fight now because Bob.
That's all I'm saying, John. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you to.
Can I say this? He's mad at Tio. I firmly believe he's mad at Tio. But why? I told Tio months ago, let's do an interim fight. I told him he didn't want to do that. He told me he wouldn't fight Lomachenko. I think he's mad at him.
See both of your points of view, right? But Bob isn't shielding Tio from any of this. Tio's a young kid. How old is he? Is he what?
23?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
what were you like at that age, Julius? Could anybody tell you anything?
No.
Nope.
I thought it was fucking
so
thing.
Bob's giving him that hard learning, making him look like the bad guy. That's what I think's happening because Bob knows that Tio is a puncher, so they can build this fight and actually make some money out of it, can't they? If he has 2 fights and knocks 2 people out in convincing fashion, the fight becomes a lot more interesting, doesn't it?
I'll say this, right? What could have changed everything months ago, and I'm not putting it on Tio, it's just, bro, that's causality. That's how shit works. If when they told you months ago, yo, have an interim fight because the Loma fight is not worth the money that you're looking for. If forget Tio, because you got a father and you got a team. If you too young to understand that, right? Your dad, who is maturated, he should be the one to tell you, look, Tio, we not having this Loma fight right now because you're not going to get the money that you're trying to get. You're not understanding. You're not going to get the money. So
Julius, has his father got any experience in boxing outside managing his son?
Nah, but that goes back. That goes. Hold on, let me say this. That goes back to like, well, you got too many people in your ear that's telling you shit that you want to hear. Like, you're not understanding. There's no crowd, bro. That's millions of dollars that are not there. You want millions of dollars. There's millions of dollars that's not there. So when Bob came to you a couple of months ago and said, yo, take a tune-up fight, take an interim fight, you should have took the fight, bro. And then if you would have taken and said, if you come out, imagine this 3 months ago, if Teofimo say, look, unfortunately, I'm not going to fight Vasil Lomachenko next. I'm still going to fight him, but it ain't going to be next because we can't get the money that we going to get. So I'm going to fight an interim fight. He going to fight an interim fight, and we going to build it up a little more because the money's just not there. We can't have there's no crowd. If Tio would have been the one that came out and said that, motherfuckers got to eat that. Like, you got to eat that, bro. Like, Loma ain't scared of him, and Tio, apparently, he not scared of him either. They ain't scared, but like, yo, there's no money, bro. There's no money. So if Tio would have been the one that did that, the fans, you can't make anti-Tio videos. You can't make anti-Lomachenko videos because you got Tio himself saying, yo, we can't fight right now. There's no fucking crowd. We can't. But what you said, oh, he ducking me. He hiding in Aegis Climax's clubhouse. He hiding in the guest house. He's in LA. You didn't have to do that, bro. So you put yourself in the spot with motherfuckers like, yo, you talk mad shit, but they asking you shit and you kind of fucking it up, bro. You want money. All right, money got to be there. Money don't grow on trees. And I tell you right motherfucking now, where Bob wouldn't put up $1 million if there's a chance he'll lose it, bro, I won't put $500 up unless I think, I wouldn't. So I already know. I see where Bob coming from. Like, yeah, I'm going to put up $1 million so I could take a bath. Fuck yeah.
I think it's more than that as well, Julius, because they could actually make some money on this fight at the right time.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, could, right? But there's no way, in my opinion, they're making a profit on it, paying him any more than what Bob's offered him. Because Bob, whatever else Bob knows, he knows the numbers. Bob will know his numbers because you don't stay in the business as long as Bob has without understanding the numbers. But as for the father taking responsibility, how many father-son partnerships work well in boxing? Because I think there's about one.
Shit. No, you ain't lying. You ain't lying.
So, like, saying that his father should have taken responsibility, that's probably
then his manager. Then his manager. Then his manager. Anybody who understands the numbers. Anybody who understands the numbers. They ain't over there. They ain't over there playing Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I'm saying? Somebody knows the fucking numbers. And you gotta understand, if it ain't no crowd, that is millions upon millions of dollars that are not in the pot. So what you should do, or a member of your team, whoever's level-headed, pull you to the side. Listen, Teofimo, I know you want to fight, but there's a lot of money that isn't there right now. That's just reality. And until the crowds come back, that money is not going to be there for you. So what you can do is take an interim fight. They should have told him that months ago. Like, no, don't push for the Loma fight because they going to fuck around, try to give it to you. Then you going to look crazy. When you realize there's not as much money here, bro. ESPN don't want to put it up. They figured, look, we already gave you a budget, Bob. We already gave you a budget. Now you want more? We don't even know if this kid is going to get us any money.
I think he's put himself in a difficult position from his inexperience because I feel a lot of the issues with boxers generally that's hurting the sport is everybody thinks they're the A side these days. Yeah. And no one wants to take on the A side as a B side to become the A side like Floyd did. He's the last person to, well, AJ did it against Klitschko, really. Yeah. I mean, technically, I don't know if he was full B side for that, but he certainly didn't get as much money as Charles Martin when he fought him for his first title.
Nah, he took a bath. He took a bath for Martin. He took a pay cut.
Yeah. But he knew what it meant. And there's too many fighters who look at Floyd and think they want to behave like Floyd did, which is fine once you're the A side. But before you're the A side, being the heel isn't necessarily the best plan.
Look, I'm gonna say this, right? Because this is my thing. Fighter going to talk shit. Fighter always going to talk shit. Really, I don't get mad when fighters talk shit. That doesn't bother me. Like, please talk shit, because I'm tired of polite fighters. Talk your shit, but you got to make sense, bro. As soon as he said that, all right, I'm not fighting, and the videos is up. I didn't attack him. When he said, yo, I don't want to fight Lomachenko without a crowd, I said, I understand that because of the money, bro. It's a big fight. You want it to be worth something, so I dig it. But then when I seen after that, yo, you're not trying to have a tune-up. All right, then what the fuck do you plan on doing, bro? Like, what the fuck do you, like, all right. You don't want to fight. I dig it. I understand. But you don't want to fight so what the hell do you want to do? That's some kid. That's when I realized, like, yo, that's some kid shit, bro. You can't make up your goddamn mind. You understand? You can't have it both ways. You sitting there popping, talking fly. And what I like is the whole time he talking fly, Loma wasn't talking like, man, I ain't going to sit here going back and forth with you about this bullshit. You want to fight, I'm down to fight. If they want to put the fight on, we can fight. I don't got to sit here arguing with you over social media, all that corny ass shit.
But Jay, didn't Lomachenko tell Bob he don't want to tune up either?
Yeah.
So to be fair, both of them said I don't want no damn tune up.
Yeah, but Loma wasn't the one that said I won't fight without a crowd. So you telling Bob, nah, I don't need a tune up. That's no sweat off my back. But when you tell Bob, well, I don't want a tune up. All right, then what the hell do you want to do, Teofimo?
Okay.
The thing is,
hold on, John. All right, Jay, I feel you. but I just said this on my live yesterday. It's on the goddamn thumbnail. Bob Arum makes the fucking sun shine for Lomachenko, but whatever.
Because he's invested.
Hold on.
Wait. I gotta say this. Every fucking promotional outfit, every single fucking one of them does that. I don't care if Bob's doing that with Loma when I'm watching PBC do that with Errol and Matchroom doing it with Joshua and motherfucking Queensbury doing it with Daniel Dubois. They all do it. Why? Because you the motherfucking headliner. That's the occupation, bro. That's
my problem, Jay. That's my problem, Jay. Why the fuck is he the headliner?
Yeah,
The dude
I agree with
he
Dion.
can't sell ice water in fucking hell, fam.
That's not true. He sold out Madison.
So why the fuck is he in front of everybody? Why the fuck was he plastered all over fucking Crawford's goddamn? No, hold on, guys, hold on, because I'm not trying. Look, I'm at Bob's neck right now. It's not like I'm giving Teofimo a pass. I even said this on my live. The fight don't happen, I'm flaming the kid. It's not about. But what I'm saying is, too many eyes are off Bob Arum. Period. And I'm not. Snake in the damn game. And I'm not just going to sit here and let him throw all the dirt on my boy and then everybody else jump on the goddamn bandwagon. Because that's what's going on.
If we're going to be honest, Bob is not throwing dirt on Lopez. People are looking at shit that Lopez himself said and throwing dirt. It ain't like Bob went over there and did the Lopez what Oscar's doing to Ryan. It ain't one of those. They not doing that.
Jay, Bob being deceptive with this. And I know you can see it, but this is what I'm saying. The average crowd cannot see that shit, bro. Bob being extremely deceptive.
I'm gonna tell you what Bob Arum doing. Bob Arum is literally doing something that I would have did. That's literally what I would have like. Lopez, like, before you go worrying about Lomachenko and his bread, you realize that we made bread off of him. You realize that for the last 3-4 years, these weight classes, 126 that don't nobody normally watch, 130 that don't nobody normally watch, 135 that nobody don't normally watch. They've been watching it because of him. Look at the viewing figures for the Linares fight. Look at the viewing figures for the Pedraza fight. You don't gotta ask why is he plastering him everywhere. It's a common sense argument because people are watching him. Who is he supposed to plaster? Teofimo?
Wait.
Up until the Richard Comey fight. No, I ain't even gonna say. I can't even say Nakatani because only a hardcore boxing fan like me is gonna give a shit about that fight. Aside from Richard Comey, who did Teofimo beat that you gotta plaster him? For what it's worth, they pushed him well because in the last 2 years, people actually realized, like, yo, this kid's a good fighter, and he only got 15 fights. Compare the push that Teofimo got for his 15 fights to the push that Virgil Ortiz got for his 15 fights or whatever he got. And Virgil fighting motherfuckers, man. Brad Solomon, Javier Orozco, motherfucking Samuel Vargas, the Maestro, Mauricio Herrera. But in that time, and they hold on, my son is bothering me. What you want, man? I don't know what he asking me. Y'all can argue.
Look, man, I'm just saying this. Bob Arum is known for making boxers, getting boxers to that point. Here's something that's common though. Those motherfuckers get upset with him and leave him. He don't take them over the top. And there's a reason they get upset with him and leave him. And that's what Teofimo going through right now. And I don't give a shit what nobody say. I'm not giving Bob Arum any slack on this. Teofimo, yeah, he fucking up, bro. Like, I'm not on this fanboy shit where I can't say, come on, kid. I said it on my live. If it comes down to it, you need to take that money because the opportunity, everything behind it is way bigger. But at the same time, I'm not gonna sit here and act like this kid's supposed to feel like he getting beat down by Bob, and I feel like Bob's being sneaky, and he's not supposed to say anything about it. And the fact he's saying something about it and putting up a fight, people don't like it. Okay, I get that. But understand what Bob is doing. And if you can't understand that or don't want to accept that, fine.
I'm going to disagree with you because to me, a lot of people are quick to jump on Bob. I've been watching Bob work in this business over the years, and I'm like, I don't see the hate. What people don't like about Bob is he'll tell you the truth about who you are because it's his fucking money. And that's the same shit I would do. Before you go telling me about your fucking potential and how fucking good you gonna be and how much fucking money you gonna make me, bro, I can't put your promises in a bank account. I can't deposit that. You want me to use my money because it's my fucking money, right? And just pay you just because you think that's what you should get. When I know the numbers, I'm looking at them, and you ain't good for that.
And now, I don't necessarily agree with that, Jay, about Bob Arum. Bob Arum's going to tell you what the fuck sounds good at any particular interview because Bob Arum will tell you what. Hold on, bro. He will tell you what sounds like the truth, and next week he will say the exact opposite. And he does this shit time and time again. So I don't want to hear shit about what Bob Arum says.
I'm not talking about what Bob Arum tells members of the media. I'm talking about how we do business. The prime example is the Jose Ramirez fight. We don't have nothing for Jose on our side that could get him this kind of money. And I ain't about to pay him that. I'm not. This dude is not. I'm not giving you a $4 million payday, Jose Ramirez. But I tell you what I will do. Eddie Hearn is willing to put up that kind of money for you. You want to go over there and have a fight? Yeah. All right, then. You go do that. That's business, bro. That's business.
It is business, Jay. It's business, Jay. But historically, Bob does business. And historically, these stars historically want to leave him.
But why?
And I'm telling you now, it's because hold on, Jay. Let me get this thought out, fam. I'm telling you right now, it's because the business sounds good, but the motherfucker is jerking these dudes at every fucking angle. No fucking reason. His biggest stars, he keep building these guys up, and they keep wanting to leave him.
Nah,
it's a reason for that, fam.
I'm gonna tell you why. And you making it about Bob when that's causality. That's literally human nature. If I reach a point to where my name, it don't gotta be Bob. It could be Eddie Hearn. It don't gotta be Bob. If I reach a point to where my name and my value is associated with me and not necessarily, I've outgrown the promotion that you can give me. I've outgrown what services you can provide for me. I'm going to cut out the middleman, and that is everyone. That ain't just Oscar and Cotto and Floyd and Manny. That ain't just them. That's anybody. Why the fuck would I have a middleman if I reach that point? Nobody's gonna have a middleman when they reach that point. Nobody.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say this right here. I always tell everybody when it comes to the politics and everything concerning boxing, I always defer to ring IQ. So I'm gonna say this right here, Julius, because I gotta get ready for this prediction video for basketball. Fuck you, Julius. I get goddamn politics and shit. Fuck you, Julius. Bob Arum. My boy T.O.P. will deserve more money. All right, hey, Julius, you my dog. I love you, man. I gotta get out of here, bro.
We wasn't gonna agree.
Hell no, I knew we won't.
Hey.
All right, fellas, I'm out, man.
Hey,
Lennox is gonna come on, and Lennox is gonna try to attack my guy Bob for being cheap. I already know.
No. Listen, calm down. Good morning. Calm down. Let's. You know what I mean? Because you know what I like about this is the fact that a few things I said about maybe a month or two ago, if you recall, are coming to light. A few things I said. Remember when I said that these men didn't know each other's budgets, and that Eddie's gonna stop being the one because Eddie knows. Remember when I said Eddie knows the budgets? In Eddie's, we were talking about Golden Boy. I think it was a month or two ago, and we were talking about why none of these lads send offers. And you were talking about. I think it was the Was it? Yeah, it was Canelo, right? And I said, listen, reason why you think it was what was it? The Smith, yeah. And I said the reason why Eddie's gonna bargain because Eddie knows a budget. Eddie knows what these lords' budgets and the way they get him, they go after his budget. He's gonna start going after people's budgets too because everyone knows each other's budgets, right? I was gonna bring up something before you made the video, and actually you addressed the video where Eddie talks about the offer situation with Tio. What you didn't address is the fact that Eddie said on several occasions quite clearly that the 1.2 million was significantly less than Campbell, who was a mandatory challenger, got paid to fight Loma. He made that point.
Lennox, can I just ask you how much you think that fight cleared though? Because when I'm looking at the UK numbers, it don't look good if that's true.
Well, I mean, it's in the interview, Julius. You chopped the interview up, and I was like, damn, it's not like Julius where he didn't address that.
It's not because it's not. I only look. The reason that I edited the way that I did is because Campbell and what he got falls under an umbrella, and it's crystal clear. When you fought Campbell, was there gate revenue? Yes. So it's possible for Campbell to have gotten more than what's on the table now. And I said that at the beginning of when I start talking at the beginning, I said what's important that people don't want to pay attention to or talk about. There's no fucking crowd, bro. So Luke probably did get more than what they offering you. But when Luke fought him, they sold out the O2. Is that the situation here? Nah, they ain't selling nothing out. Fuck around, they fight.
That's it's not even about the gate revenue. Yeah, I get that point. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disparaging it. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
So the reported buys, the best number I can find for reported buys is Campbell Loma fights, 205,000. At £20 ago, that's 4.1 million. On top of that, the tickets at the O2 were £40, £100, 150, 200, 300, and 600. And then there was a VIP inner circle.
Yeah.
So I've guessed that at about 1.8 to 2 million, depending on how many tickets of each. But obviously, I've assumed there's more of the cheaper tickets than there are of the expensive tickets. Even if it was like 2.2 million plus a VIP, so even if you put up to 203 million, that's still only 6.5. If Campbell got paid 25% of Loma's purse as a mandatory, the UK generated revenue doesn't look like it covered the purses. Do you know anything about that? I mean, I know you know.
I know that Campbell made over 2 million, and what you're not factoring in is international rights.
No. Jude, we kind of covered that. I mean, I'm not saying they made a loss. I'm saying the UK revenue doesn't look like it covered the purses. So for the amount of money laying out,
it's not.
For the amount of money you're laying out, you're not getting a very good return. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not about actually you got an excellent return, because what you're not factoring in, and where I come from as a broadcast background, is that the broadcast, the kitty for the broadcast rights, which oddly enough actually had more to do with Campbell than this thing. But hypothetically speaking, or at least the theory we're working on here, is that Lomachenko's an international star, right? Bob's got significant broadcast rights that he could sell around the globe, which is what Eddie does and what Matchroom does. At the time the Campbell fight was, you understand that DAZN is huge in Germany.
Yeah.
Like DAZN does massive Bundesliga, right?
So hang
on. So if I'm just talking DAZN, like if we just talk about the DAZN end of it, massive international rights. If we talk about the Matchroom broadcast rights, research it. Like,
oh my God. Lennox, I gotta stop you. Oh my fucking! I love him and I hate him. I swear to God, I love him and I hate him. I respect the hell out of this man's work ethic. Why this motherfucker Fast Eddie just signed Eva Brodnicka? Bro, I've been fucking saying it for 3 months. Bob, stop fucking around, because I'm telling you, he's gonna beat you to the punch. And you're gonna be Michaela's gonna be.
I was gonna say that to you, that Michaela's not getting a title. That she's not gonna get any. When she said that shit about Terry Harper's got to come to the United States, and remember I kept saying, listen, fam, Bob is historically cheap, and I'm not making excuses for Loma, but I mean for Tio, but I'm just bringing up things that are being missed here. Understand that Loma did tell Teofimo, go get a belt. He did say that to this thing. So it's not about making excuses for him, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to say, oh, it's all on Bob. But I think there's a valid point for the kid trying to negotiate a bit more bread, and Bob being a cheapskate, because that's been my opinion on him. And I said this 2-3 months ago on one of your lives, that even before this thing became a talking point, that Bob being cheap is the catalyst. And honestly, let's be honest. However you feel about Tio, his shit talking and his hype this thing made this fight bigger than anything else. Like, I mean, let's
Lennox,
be honest.
I'm not disagreeing with you, right? Like I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not disagreeing with D. You be boxing. Thinks I'm disagreeing with him. And for your information, you be boxing. It is a matter of fact that Crawford's listed purse for the Julius Ndongo fight was $2 million. What do you think they paid Ndongo? All right. So let's stop. Like, we gotta stop. Like, I don't play favorites with fighters, bro. Everything.
No.
Hold on. Let me say this. Everything to me is money, bro. And I don't think anybody in the chat, I don't think anybody on the panel would put up money they know that they're likely to lose. I don't think they would do that. We don't gamble unless we believe in the fighter that we're backing. That's the perfect example.
Shout out to George Joyce.
So Lennox, just to get some sort of idea on this figure, because I trust you on this though.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you straight: the international rights for that Loma Campbell fight, do you think they were worth in excess of like 10 million? Because that changes the whole complexion of it.
The international rights for that at the market rate that it was, yes.
Okay, because that just changes the whole thing, because the UK revenue doesn't look like it covers the purses, but I can't.
Think about it this
it's
way,
hard to get that type of information, and Lennox has got it.
Think about it this way, John. Always use what Showtime and HBO paid for the rights to Joshua Klitschko. Each one of them paid $1 million flat. That's $2 million right there. That's just them.
Oh,
and that's for the middle of the afternoon. That's for middle of the afternoon. But no. So the point I was trying to make about the Bob thing is that my look on this is that Tio's got people on his team, just like Eddie, and just like the people inside the game, just like I know there's certain funds available for broadcast rights. And so if Tio's looking at it and going, yeah, all right, there's no gate, or whoever's handling it, because I don't think fighters really know this, but the people around them know this, right? Just like when I first brought this up and you were chatting about, this, if I think we're talking about if what's his name was worth 5 million or blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, if you're looking at it that way, but you got to look at it like as Eddie knows what Golden Boy is there. And Eddie's now, if you've noticed the way Eddie's moving recently, he's gotten the attitude of like, all right, listen, you lot, since we all know each other's budgets and you lot always expect me to max my budget out, I'm going to take the same approach when I'm negotiating with you for my fights.
Yeah. So, and I'm not, and I'm just sidebar. When it comes to that, I'm glad because I'm tired of that shit. I'm sick of, like, you Mr. Big in the fucking britches. Y'all motherfuckers always expect me to pay through the nose for some shit. All right, if one of my guys is a mandatory to one of y'all or whatever, and he got to come, I want y'all to pay through the nose, motherfucker. All right, I'm tired of shit.
Right, so remember the point I made.
Lennox, what would you consider to be a reasonable purse for Teofimo in the current situation?
That's a good question.
You know what? I think that negotiation tactics are because I see the problem is I could talk to you about Showtime and DAZN because I know the numbers and I've been on the broadcast end, so I understand that this thing. I'm not certain what the math is over at ESPN in terms of global rights, right? But what I do know, hang on. What I do know is that I said this 2-3 months ago. I said everyone knows everyone's budget. So if someone's playing a hardball because they know there's more in the tank or more in the bank. So if Tio's playing hardball for more money, that lets me know that the people in the know that even in the pandemic, there's a bit more. I would say at least 2 million.
All right, now this is my thing. This is my thing. This is my thing. This is where I'm coming from. If Bob is putting up $1.2 million, top-ranked money to pay out Teofimo's purse, my thing is ESPN needs to show a commitment to this brand, show a commitment to this event, and put up the difference because he's putting up most of the bread. So just throw a little something on top of that. Get this kid in the ring. It ain't like they ain't got it. They got it. They got
okay. Right, so then we're saying the same thing. So that's exactly my point. And maybe not my point. I think that there is access to more, and maybe ESPN just isn't out there. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, right? Sky or the Zone or these platforms with Eddie, right? They're never, or even Golden Boy, right? Honestly, they're never. They invested in the brand and the events, so they're never like, if even in the pandemic, right? Even with we look at the what's the Serrano fight, right? And he went to, it's like, yeah, whatever, pay her full purse, right? It was like, all right, let's try and get this thing. But they invested in the brand, they invested in the event, so the broadcasters will put up the money. So my thing is, maybe Bob's low numbers and all the things going on with him versus the UFC
Yep.
has got ESPN like, nah.
Like
And
now, what did I now in the video that I did, the video that you was talking about? What did I say? I said ESPN might be looking at Teofimo, and they know the numbers, they know the metrics, and they might be telling. In the absence of a live audience, we don't have any assurances you can bring us our money back. So we're not just going to put it up for you just because you asking for it. I
But
feel
Julius, do you not think that ESPN are also looking at Bob?
no,
Because
because
Bob,
no,
hold on, hear me out. Bob,
Yep.
since the
Okay.
pandemic's been going on, has been putting out absolute dross. And I would have thought his current viewing figures are abysmal because the fights have been poor. If you look at like what Eddie just did, viewing figures wise, for what wasn't a particularly good card, he actually did okay figures by comparison.
But
do you know what the figures
he
have been
didn't.
like?
hold
don't
on.
think so?
Let me just address this point, right? ESPN is not protecting Bob. They putting pressure on him. Like, bro, you see what Dana's doing. You see what kind of numbers Dana's bringing us,
No,
right?
no, I'm saying the reverse, Julius. I'm saying ESPN don't have faith in Bob to deliver, so they're reluctant to give him more than his budget because his current body of work hasn't been very good.
But-
Exactly, that's a
I'm
valid
actually
point.
looking at it from two different sides, though. I'm
But
actually
that's
looking
the
at it
point
from.
I'm making. That's what I'm saying. I said this in a video. Fucking ESPN is looking at Teofimo and they're like, bro, you don't know. We don't know you're gonna bring us our
I'm
money
talking
back.
about Bob as well because Bob isn't really delivering on ESPN. He's not,
But
isn't he?
Julius, can I say something? Can I say something as a fact that ESPN's not looking at TL specifically. They're looking at the person they got a contract with, which is Bob. So what you don't understand when Eddie or anyone talks about broadcasters look at you to deliver a content. Whether you like him or not, yeah, man like Fast Eddie does what he does in terms of, you look at Fight Camp, all of that, yeah? He puts on a show because whether you like it or not, he's worried about delivering the numbers and making that listen, because that's what his business is. It's the same thing that honestly Al Heyman does, but without the same flair, right? Al Heyman does it by making sure his fighters can't fight anywhere else so he can deliver content. Eddie does by delivering great content. Whether you listen, there were no big names on the matchroom card, but there were 50-50 fights. It was a showcase. The production was great. It was all of that. So it gave you a reason to watch. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is ESPN's not looking at they're not looking at the fighters individually. They're looking at it.
What I mean when I say they're looking at it is, okay, if Bob goes to ESPN, the execs over there, and he says, okay, well, can you guys put up a little bit more money because one of these guys, he wants a certain kind of purse. It's not that ESPN knows T.O.'s social security number. It's that ESPN is looking at the situation and saying, in its entirety, I don't know that this is going to get me my money back. So no, I'm not putting it up. I would have expected a bigger commitment to put on a big fight or a decent sized fight from a network the size of ESPN. But if they're not, it's because they don't feel it's worth it. If they don't, because ESPN is not a small, this is the biggest sports network in the country.
Julius,
I'm actually looking at it from like two different sides, man. Because I see it like this,
is that
right?
Troy?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
Troy.
It's me.
Yeah, hi,
it's me.
Troy. You're right.
How you
Go
doing?
ahead, Troy.
Yeah, because I see it like this. If you could find $3 million for Lomo, which is his biggest payday currently, right? Right?
I mean,
why can't you?
Didn't they say that
why
that's? I'm trying to stay accurate. Didn't they say that
Right.
basically what Loma's getting is the contracted amount that he always gets. That's what I saw from Michael Benson.
I don't know. I think
thought
3 million
Logan was getting less
is his biggest payday. But hear me out real quick. He's getting the 3 million, and I think the other brother wants maybe 2 million. So I don't see how they can't come up with another 800,000 to get this flight
Troy,
on.
that's
But
what I'm saying.
but listen, but that's only one side to the equation. Now the fan and the fighter in me is thinking, why doesn't this young man just take the 1 point whatever million they're giving him, right? Go
Right.
out there and and do his job by beating him, and then he fights him in a rematch. He beats him again, then he doesn't have to worry about the difference because now they're gonna have to pay him.
Troy, what
See,
I'm
I'm seeing it from both sides.
Troy, look, when it comes to your both your stances, because I have two stances as well. I know the world that we live in today, but I also know the world of yesterday and how is it that people got to be where they got to. You understand? This
Right.
and I got this in a video. They're like, yo, dog, you gotta make sacrifices. Anything worth having requires
Anything.
sacrifices.
Anything.
Worth having. You gotta bite the bullet sometimes. Right now, imagine that you go in there with this fucking Lomachenko and his fancy fucking feet, and in 3 rounds you spark that man out.
That's what I'm thinking.
When this pandemic is over, you are a superstar. Everybody likes you.
No. Actually, you're a superstar once you beat him again in a rematch. You're a star once you beat him. But in the rematch, now you're established, and that makes you a superstar. But the thing with me, where I am with boxing as a fan, I used to be a great big fan, and I've been watching it for I don't know how many years. But I've lost a lot of passion because of situations like this. It always comes down to, okay, well, here's the contract. Oh, well, I don't want to fight for this. And then these fights never happen. Then these fights never happen. They just never happen. And
So I agree
I agree with that, Troy.
Everybody has something to say, but the fact is, as fight fans, we don't want to hear the talk. We want to see the fight. Show and prove.
As I get older, right? As I get older, because you know what these guys endure and the risks, I have a lot more sympathy. I have sympathy. I understand because what bothers me, like I seen a picture of Ricardo Mayorga, right? That shit bothers me because he fucked up in the game and he been in big fights. He's
really
let me say
in dire financial trouble at the moment.
I mean, that's what it looked like. And he's been in big fights. He had a fight with Oski, been in big fights. And I don't want to see that keep happening. Look at how Meldrick Taylor turned out. Look at how Jermaine Taylor turned out. You don't want to see that. Like, damn, dog, that's a hard ass job. You want them guys to get money. So the adult part of me sympathizes with that. Like, come on, dog. I don't go to work and get punched in my goddamn face. So I understand. Like, yeah, you got to get your money. No doubt about it. But the other side of that is, look, this is an occupational hazard. And this is a universal truth. Anything worth having in life requires sacrifices. Whether you sacrifice time, blood, or effort, it requires sacrifice.
And let me say this, right? For every Jermaine Taylor, for every Meldrick Taylor, for every who else did you name? Mayorga, right?
Big Daddy
you got to look at it. Right, you got to look at someone like Calvin Brock. You don't hear that name a lot, but I suppose Calvin Brock is a businessman, right? He's still doing well. Then you take a look at the let's say somebody like Hagler who left this country and went overseas, learned another language, became a movie superstar, owns a lot of real estate. He's never gonna be broke. Sugar Ray Leonard, never gonna be broke. For every bad you can think of, and it is some. I'm not saying it isn't bad. You take Simon Brown right here in Maryland. He has an academy, and now he's training fighters. He has some pros. He has this. He has a couple of things going on. It's like honestly, it's a 50-50 thing. And in most cases, because it's 2020, most of these cats should study history and learn the fact that they are the business. Boxing is not the business. Boxing is a vehicle. You are the business, so you need to learn the business and set yourself up for the future because you're the one that has to go through it. And that's why I get kind of frustrated when I hear this because how much more time has to pass before these fighters or have to learn that no one is going to look out for them. There's no promoter really that's going to take you by the hand and teach you anything. most managers they'll get you certain places, and then they might start seeing that money and then dig a little deeper in your pocket. But you have to be the one that puts in that hard work and say, I'm going to fortify. I'm going to make sure that I don't suffer tomorrow because I am the business.
Troy, this is what I'm gonna say,
Boxing
right?
is not the business. Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I agree with your especially your latter stance, because I agree with that, because that's not limited to boxing. For example, right?
That's yeah.
That's not limited to boxing. Like I use StreamYard as an example because it's a crude example that anyone can understand. In order for me to be able to stream without limitations, right? I had to put up 200 and change. That's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money. Not to me, but to somebody it is. And they might look at that and think, nah, I'm gonna just rock out with the monthly or the free joint. But you gotta make sacrifices. When I was learning to draw, like I wanted to learn how to draw comic book style. Like, because I could draw when I was younger, but it wasn't comic book enough for me. I had to sacrifice time and effort and paper and money for markers, for Copic markers, not the regular markers, not no motherfucking Crayola. Copic markers used to cost money. You might have to pay $3 a marker for a Copic marker. All right, you got to sacrifice. So when I see a young boy spending all that time to defamate someone else's character and what efforts they make, yeah, I find that annoying, because he's proven you're not. That's facts. He's proven as an amateur, proven as a professional. You're not, but you're calling him out. And the only way I give you a pass for this is if you want to fight him. Then I understand, because, well, that's your job and that's his job. So I dig it. That's your job. You got to do that. I ain't mad at you for that. But when you start bullshitting, yo, you wanted the job, right? You wanted the job. You wanted to fight him. All right, do you want to fight him, or do you just want to get paid to show up? Because it sounds like you want to get paid to show up. That's what it sounds like. You don't want to get to the other side of this. You got to get to the other side of this, like you just said. You got to get to the other side of this fight, because on the other side of it is everything you want, but you don't want to go through the fire unless it's a safety net.
And you know, that's what people don't understand, because I'll give you an example. When Frazier and Ali fought the first time, right? On paper, they were getting paid $2.5 million each, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what their take home was?
What
Take
was
a
it?
guess.
I'm gonna say 500,000.
10% of 2.5 million. So half of what you just said. Half.
Wow.
That's because you have to learn the business. You have to understand that as a fighter, or I'm just focusing on boxing because it's a boxing program. Once you make your mind up to become a fighter, you have to study and understand that you are the business. Boxing is just an outlet for you. You don't need to pay someone to manage you, and you could do it yourself. Then you have to take shorts sometime to leapfrog over and become something else. That's just what happens. Okay, you take a short here, but if you win, that'll leapfrog you over into bigger and better things, and then no one can short you again, because you could say, "Wait a minute now, I just beat the dude, you know, who was the money dude, and now I'm the money dude. You have to give, you know, you have to pay me like you were paying him."
Yeah, but
I'm gonna say this.
you know what?
Let me say this, because I'm gonna use Eddie Hearn as an example, right? Eddie Hearn, with every female fighter that he has, he's taking a risk, because the sport is growing. It's bigger than it's ever been, but he is taking risks. Even building Fight Camp, yo, he paid for that. $5 million for that setup. He paid for that. You gotta make sacrifices. He just signed Eva Brutnica, right? That's the WBO champion at 130 pounds, right? He ain't gonna sell a lot of tickets with Eva, but who's he invested in? He's invested in Terry. So I gotta make sacrifices, bro. I gotta get Eva over here. I gotta make sure Bob don't get her, because if I'm asleep at the wheel, then fucking Bob is gonna get her, and I miss out. So I ain't gonna let that happen. That's the work ethic. That's why I respect the hell out of that dude, if I'm being honest, because that's how you supposed to move. I'm not going to sit here chilling, drinking daiquiris, knowing Bob is working against me. Nah, I'm on the ball. You're not going to get that Brotnica fight, because I got it. I got her. You wasting Michaela's time, bro. That's how you supposed to be. You got to make sacrifices. If you're not down to make sacrifices, then you ain't down for shit.
Well, thank you very much, because that is what's lacking in the sport. And once you take out sacrifice, I can tell you what else you take out of the sport: passion.
Yeah,
because it takes a lot of. It's that fire, that passion that burns you. Because, you know, I got great advice from Simon Brown one time when I was really into boxing. I said I wanted to be a pro. He asked me why, and I said I think I was 17. I said because I want to be champ. Because he let me hold his belt, his IBF belt, man. That changed my life. So I said I want to be champion. I'll buy my mom a house. You know the whole story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, okay, well that's never gonna happen because you focused on money, and if you come into this business simply focused on money, you ain't gonna get nothing because you're gonna get hit hard enough one time to change your mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, that actually never happened. But that's that's the thing why a lot of these fights aren't getting made because you hit the nail on the head. Sacrifice. There is no more sacrifice because if you get $3 million for just fighting anybody, then why are you gonna sacrifice or take a risk to fight
Exactly.
somebody?
But Troy, I think it's more short-sightedness because we've just
Right.
talked about how AJ took short money against Martin because he knew what was going to come from doing that. So if you really do want the big money, that sacrifice that you're talking about is the best route to it, as long as you believe in your ability to win.
Can I say this? Look, I look at Terrence Crawford, right? This American hero. Shout out to Terrence Crawford, right? It's American hero. I don't care what nobody say. You could see it in this dude, right? That he not just boxing for bread. He likes what he does and he wants to be the best at it.
Yeah,
That
but
demeanor, hold on, wait.
Go on.
That demeanor is consistent. Hold on.
Good.
That demeanor is consistent with anyone who loves what they do. And like Troy just said, you can't do this just for bread because it's a lot of shit you could do for bread. You could be a lawyer if you want to make money. You could be a doctor if it's just about making money. You gotta love what you do.
When you talk about Terrence Crawford, though, Julius, that man's all dog. He's a street fighter who's ended up becoming a very good professional boxer. He's all about the dog. So I'm not sure that's the best example.
I'm going to tell you right now, John, he's an American.
I've got all the time in the world for Terrence.
Julius is a big Terrence fan, but I'll tell you what, Terrence has got something in common with Roy Jones. There's two people that I've met that are just love to fight. Like, what people don't understand is, like, when they talk about Roy's legacy, I was like, you lot don't understand. Like, Roy actually just loves the shit. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really care past that. Like, Roy ran up on Fat Joe by himself. That's just how he's made.
Well, he's Capricorn, bro.
Yeah. I couldn't believe all of that about Roy, and I agree.
And that's how Terrence. And I was fortunate enough to work out with Terrence once. That's just how Terrence is built. Like, he's just like that. He just happens to box. Like, honestly, he's one of those guys, you know, they joke about that. Like, I firmly believe, I've looked in that man's eyes, like, I've watched that man spar, and I could send you a video. I firmly believe if it wasn't for boxing, Terrence would probably have a body right now.
Yeah,
look, if we're being honest, I got a couple of bodies too, man. You know, I'm just. No. I'm not being like, you know what I mean? I've been around a lot of like dudes that just had that look in their eye, you know what I mean, that you just knew. You know what I mean? Like, this man is just cold, ice cold. Like, in the two people in boxing that I've been that just had that energy, is Roy and Terrence. Like, Roy's actually a much nicer guy. Terrence is really not like, you know what I mean? Not really like a super this thing. Roy just loves to fight. Like, he thinks fighting's fun. But Terrence is like got that same vibe, but a little bit more killer. I told y'all 3 years ago, Terrence Crawford is not a human. He's a deity. He was made on Mount Olympus. He was made for fucking people up. That's what he was made for. He said, make somebody that could fuck people up. They made Terrence Crawford.
That was my point, though, Julius. Terrence is all about that dog, so he's not necessarily the best person to talk about in terms of fighting, because he's more like that than most boxers.
Yeah. So anyway, my point, the point I was making was in terms of the TL situation. Yeah, it's like I understand, man, knowing that there's a bit more in on the table, and he's not trying to leave it on the table. You know what I mean? And I'm going to say that this is not a TL related, because I said this months and months ago, that Bob's penny pinching cheapness and all that. And I also feel like if there's more revenue, that I don't think, and this is where you got to put the blame Bob thing, that ESPN doesn't have the faith in him. And here's what I'll say, right? Is Julius, you talk about metrics. There's a very interesting point that's got to be made, that you look at all the American promoters, you look at all the outfits, right? When $1 billion multinational was basically headhunting a promoter to spearhead their $1 billion global Netflix of sports, this thing. They didn't pick any, and they had American promoters at their disposal. Hell, they had Golden Boy. So that's and hang on. Let me finish. Remember, let's be honest. Bob was on the table too, because HBO was lights out. Bob was. There was a few. They basically at that time had access to anyone who did not have a deal with Showtime, and they didn't pick any of the American promoters. And not about nationality, but it's about the business and who you want to invest in and who's good for, you know what I mean?
I think
these people have faith.
More to it than that, though, Lennox, because if you look at American boxing, it's not in a very good place at the moment, and it needs change. So going to the old guard, who aren't going to do anything differently.
No, see,
that's a valid point. That's a valid point.
Can I say this? Look. When the Zone decided to do what they did, it wasn't all about America, and I don't think that was clear in the beginning. I don't think that was clear. Everybody, including me, treated the situation as if it was all about cracking the American market, and now I see that no, it wasn't. The Zone has a bigger bottom line than that. They have a way bigger bottom line than that, and their expanse is intended to be global. So for a global market, well, you don't get an American. Nobody fucking likes Americans. So like, you need Eddie Hearn.
Well,
let me tell you something. Eddie has a comb over, and you'd never know it because that's how good a businessman he is.
Hold on a minute, Julius. Eddie's out there talking about getting hair plugs, so we do know.
Yeah, he tells you he's not.
We do know.
I think you know what? That's actually lends that lends to his marketability, because you know what I mean. Most men, right, would hide that or whatever. He takes the piss out of himself, puts it out there for you, and basically takes that power away from anyone. You know what I mean? Like he's always.
If you're gonna have an app, you want the promoter who's best on social media, and there isn't. All the old guys don't really understand it, and Eddie does.
Yeah. No, it's not even that. But I'm even okay. I could see Eddie being a global face, but you understand that they made man do a US. He basically opened Matchroom US, right, and came in here and really fucked the market up. And when Bob takes the piss at him, it's really like it makes it sound like it's in jest, right? But I know for a fact it's a deep rooted disgust, because he's basically forced Bob, who's got to be the tightest. You know what I mean? He's forced Bob to have to come up off a few Bob, and Bob is not happy about that.
No, he's not.
You know what I mean?
No, he's not. And if you're good at reading people, and you look, you can see the frustration, like because of this fucking guy, everything's fucked now. It's not just fucked for me; it's fucked for the PBC too. But
what are we talking about now? What are we talking about? You said this guy. What are we talking about?
Fucking Eddie. When he debuted, remember, think about it this way, right? Jose Ramirez wasn't going to get $4 million being over there at Top Rank, you understand, right? And beyond that situation with Maurice Hooker, Jose is in a position where, like, yo, bro, you can't pay me peanuts. I made $4 million because of Eddie Hearn. In so many words, I made $4 million because of Eddie Hearn. So when I fight, you got to pay, and you got to pay well, because I just got paid well. And if you fuck around, I'm going to Matchroom. I'm telling you, I'm going to Matchroom. That's what's going on. He fucked
let him go.
If he does, though, what can he provide for ESPN? Remember, you got to deal with ESPN. They invested in you. Dana is killing you. He's killing you. Eddie.
And herein lies why Al is the way Al is with his fighters. You get me?
My guy F.A. Ajagba got his ass up out of there.
No. But Julius, you just made the point, right? So if Ramirez lives, what do I deliver to ESPN? So you got to look at, like, that is essentially Al, and I'm not defending him, but we understand Al's entire attitude towards like cross promotion of this thing because his loyalty is delivering content. Obviously, he's now been forced. His hand is forced, right? Because he's got nothing. You know, he had so many dates taken, and I told you this 2 months before it happened. I was like, "Yo, fam, them lost loads of dates because." I went from, I told you, I was like, yo, fam, I went from having no bookings. And I think I told you this, June? It was even before the schedule came out, if you recall.
I remember.
Before the schedule came out, I was like, yeah. I got a call from Dinkins. And, they're booking us for the entire whatever. And I was like, yeah, I thought these lot were out. And then, was at a meeting, on a Skype meeting, and realized that they had no dates elsewhere. So they came crawling back and they were basically pressured to deliver XYZ. You know what I mean? But the way Al does it is he's not taking a risk. He's not putting himself in a position where this thing is his thing is I sell content to broadcasters. So I'm not going to put myself in a position where I have no content to deliver. So in-house fights, recycling, this is this thing. But you know what I mean? On the business end, that leads us to understand the bullshit with this thing.
Look, we know why, and they all, to a degree, right? They all do it to a degree. The reason that Al chaps my ass is not just fights that don't happen. You are ruining fighters. You took Sakniambia. I just talked about this kid.
Oh, valid. I'm not. No, this was no defense. This was no defense. No, there was no defense of this thing. I was just making sure that people fully understand.
You have a guy who's 11-0. 11-0. This is essentially a prospect. 2018, he fights once. 2019, he fights once. He sits out for a year before he fights for a title. Where you got fucking Tevin Farmer, who's a world champion, he made the decision, well, I want to fight 5 times. So if you got dates, then I want them. Same with Emmanuel Navarrete. Champion. Further along in their careers, you're not supposed to have no prospect sitting over there collecting dust when he's supposed to be fighting. If you a prospect, you're supposed to get out there 4 or 5 times a year.
But Julius, you just heard Lennox explain why that's happening. Because what Aaron cares about is delivering content to the broadcasters. He doesn't care about developing prospects, and it's short-sighted. And the BBC is going to.
You mean Heyman? Because
Heyman. Yeah. I was getting my names muddled up.
But what Top Rank does well, which is why I like them, and you can judge me. I don't give a shit because I'm old.
But,
right?
But I meant to say Heyman before you say that.
I know. I'm just
as long as make your point.
Let me jump in here real quick. When you talk about Heyman and Aaron, you're talking about 2 different people. Well, of course, talking about 2 different people, but one of them is really a boxing guy. He's been involved in boxing before Don King, but he was Don King's toughest. He was there when Don King was around, but he is more or less, he wants to make those big fights, and he wants to build in the sport. The other guy is more focused on the fighter and making sure the fighter is well taken care of and protected, and then he'll put out whatever, because he has so many fighters that he could put out any type of. When you put out content, somebody kept talking content. Something my grandmother always told me. She said there's good. No, she said there's good, better, and best. Is he just putting out good content, better content, or the best content? No, he's just putting out content. That's all he's putting out. You can't really tell me that all you could say, if he puts out 5 fights a year, which is a lot, that 3 out of those 5 will be great or good. No, they won't. They'll just be fights. You flip that over to Top Rank, and you can say, okay, they put out X amount of fights, and they will be good fights. They will be good fights. There'll be something you could remember, because these dudes are about boxing because they're more established. He's more about making sure his fighters are okay and not having to sacrifice, like you said, to make a way, because there's no way you should have twin champions and they're not household names. No way you should have had 2 dudes that came back from cancer who were champions and people don't know their names. There's no way
I could have been Danny Jacobs. I would have sold the shit out. Like, bro, you got Anthony.
He'd be on TV. He would be on TV,
bro. And I'm like, yo, like if it were that way, right? That he's he's so concerned about the fighters. You know that I could actually forgive that. Like, you know what? I dig it. But that's not what I see. What I see is this is a man that is all about the gimmick. He's 3-card money in boxing. If he's anything like that.
It is. I think it was Virtuoso who made this point, and it's the best description of Heyman and his role in this business. He treats fighters like up and coming musicians and gives them those 360 deals. He doesn't care about those fighters. I don't believe it for a minute.
I
brought up the 360 deal situation.
Was it you, Leonard?
Yeah, because we looked at the contracts after Beats had the thing on there, and I've seen the contracts, and it's a 360. It's a 360 deal.
And if you care about the fighters, you don't put them on that, do you?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I mean, if I'm being honest, like there's this idea that because and I think by now we all know it's true. I think by now we all know it, that he provides cash incentives for his fighters to not take on certain fights, to not go certain places. I think by now we all know that's true. And you're not understanding that's not good for the fighter. You understand? You trying to make a fighter. You trying to make him be the best fighter that he can be, right? Well, the shit you doing is sabotaging him to the point where in his heart, he really not even a fighter no more. Okay, well, this business is too dangerous for that. You can't have guys going out there half-hearted like, man, I ain't
and
really.
The question is, why is he doing this? And it's because he's got to preserve his business model is I sell content to broadcasters. And so he's got to preserve. If he sends you out there on another network, yeah, that's one fight he doesn't have, or one fighter he doesn't have. Or he takes a risk and you go out there and you get smashed up. Yeah, that's one guy. Yeah, you might have made a lot of money, but then he's looking at it as like he could have strung you along in 10 nonsense fights that he could have sold to Fox and Showtime and made a lot more money.
I think that's even more so if you've got some form of title. Because I think part of the contract is Heyman has to deliver so many title fights, doesn't he?
Yes, it is. Yep, that's part. Yep, that's part of it. That's why they love the baby belts.
Yep.
Well, Char's just come out of the woodwork about it, hasn't he? And I can see Andrew was fighting Char for that.
He's gonna go. Yo, Char's gonna be a PBC fighter, bro. That's already.
Char's just gonna get his ass kicked.
Oh
but he's happy to get his ass kicked because it's the only way he's getting paid for that.
John, before we say anything, wait, John. Before we say anything, remember, they put motherfucking Ugas in there with Mike Dallas, right? Don't be surprised if Char headlines a card. I can see it. If Pulev can headline a card on ESPN, I can see them getting behind Manuel Char and all his mousse that he uses to style his hair. I can see it. They might try to get 3 fights out of that guy.
Yeah, listen, as you were saying, you were making an argument about Bob putting people in unifications, and I always wanted to point out that most of them have been on someone else's bill.
Oh, yeah.
It's been on someone else's bill. Bob's not paying out of his nose for unifications on his dime, but you know what I mean? So I'm actually quite happy that Eddie's taking the stance, because I've always felt, I said this months ago, and again, it was talking to you or probably in one of these lives. Yeah, I think it was in one of these lives on Twitter that, man, everyone fam, if I know what a budget is, and I told when we had the Canelo conversation, I brought it up. I was like, yo, fam, look, listen, I get it. You're going to fight, but it's like, nah, let's not leave it, because you know what? Every time, and I'm glad Eddie's doing it now, because every time they had to negotiate with one of his fighters, case in point, Joshua, right? Man, them go for the max.
Yeah.
They're going to go for, and Eddie, and I was always wondering, I was like, yo, Eddie, you know what they got in the budget? Why don't you do the same thing? So now I'm glad that he's got the same stance. And I love when he told Oscar, fuck you mean you don't like the offer? Ryan Garcia doesn't like the offer. Yeah, you make an offer. We're both on the platform. I know what they pay you.
Bro, I stood up and applauded for that shit. Because I'm sick of it. Bro, you're exploiting the situation. I feel like they're exploiting the situation, which is what irritates me about it. It's like, yo, dog, you got to make the fights, bro. you wouldn't expect, you don't want to have to pay through the nose. So do what you got to do to make the fight, because at the end of the day, the quality of the product is suffering because of you dudes. You focused on the wrong thing. You're not focused on making these fighters better fighters. You're just focused on getting some shit out there, when you know what? If the fighters are great, then boxing is great. But
that's exactly it, Julius. It's all a short-term view.
Yep.
Because if you look out, we talk about Eddie again, but I'm just going to do it. I don't care if everyone calls me, says I'm sucking up to Eddie. Boxing is big in the UK now when it wasn't, because people believe that there's going to be good fights on, that we have good fighters. And that's been developed over time through making decent fights. And making the decent fights isn't just about providing the content now. It's exactly what Julia says. It develops the fighters. And Eddie throws people in there. He sacrificed Cheeseman to the Spanish guy, and Cheeseman found his level.
Yeah.
And Eddie will do that to see how good you are.
Not for nothing, I'm going to say this, and I love these girls, so I'm going to love them before the fight and after the fight, right? Terry could lose this fucking fight. Tomorrow, there's a chance. That girl's a southpaw, and she hit hard than a motherfucker. 9 fights, 7 knockouts. The girl could punch. And Eddie is not coddling these fighters. He's not coddling them. It ain't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just put you in here with this applesauce. Nah, he puts them in some shit, because that's the only way you're gonna find out who they are. That's the only way you're gonna find out if they're great. Sink or swim.
Well, it's what makes boxing popular again. You know, all these people not believing.
That's what made Joshua.
Yeah,
that's what made Joshua. Isn't it?
And
but what people don't know is Joshua had already been in that in the amateurs. I know everybody talks about the Olympics, but if you go back and watch the final in Baku against Magdrasil, I can't say his name. He's Magdrasil Magadev, who actually won the gold medal in 2011. That guy's a beast. He KO'd people all the way up until the final. And Joshua was giving up £10 and stood his ground. And he only lost. There's an argument to say that Joshua got gifted the gold medal, but there's also in the Olympics. But there's also an argument to say he got robbed the gold medal in the Worlds the year before, and he was green as anything in that.
But it's the same. Look. Pressure makes diamonds, man.
You know what? Let me just make a point. And Julius, you know I'm being objective here because you know I love the Cubans, and the fight where people felt like Joshua was gifted. I honestly thought that he edged it by being pressured. And you know I love what's his name, Savan. I love when he smashed up the French guy.
You know, in the World Boxing amateur finals I'm talking about in Baku, Magdrasil knocked out Savan on the way into that, and he knocked out Camarelli as well on the way to fighting Joshua.
Exactly, but the argument, people, and you know I'm a huge Savan fan. What's the French guy? God, I'm forgetting. The French guy you always call the French Joshua.
Tony Yoka.
Yeah. He sparked out Yoka. Like, I can't get him sparking Yoka out of my head. So I was watching that fight for Savan, honestly. Like, I knew AJ.
Go pro.
It's Cuban, fam. He got a defect.
Well, fucking defect, Larry. I have to suffer through Laura, but I can't get Savan. What the fuck?
You know what? I give you. I'm not. We gotta get to the bottom of why you slander Lara so bad.
I'm not slandering him. I'm just look.
You hate Lara. You hate Lara.
Cuban fighters, right? Cuban fighters. The heavier they get, the more entertaining they are. Sullivan Barrera is entertaining, win or lose. Junior Dorticos is entertaining, win or lose. Ortiz has that capacity. Frankie Sanchez has potential. The heavier the Cuban heavyweight is, the more entertaining they become. So I could have did with a big old strong Cuban heavyweight beating people up, but you gonna send me Lara?
By the way, so you know Lara's right now he's in camp with my boy Andy, and Andy's going pro. I think I sent you the thing. Andy goes pro under this thing. But Andy's been sending me, like he's been FaceTiming me with Lara in the camp, and I'm gonna tell you this: Lara might make another run.
I wanted to ask you, Lennox, because I knew you had insight about this shit. What the fuck was I gonna ask? Is Lara still with Ronnie Shields, or he got up out of there?
No, he's with Salas. He's in camp with Andy right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, he went back to Salas. He's been with Salas almost a year now.
Oh shit! Let's go, Lara.
Yeah, fam. You see, I
I was
tagged
gonna
you
ask
on.
you, what's your issue with Lara? You have an issue with him? Because I've always thought he was a
Not
good
an
fighter.
issue. Not an issue. Not an issue. I felt that he takes a minimalist approach to big situations, and it's not that he can't be entertaining because the Castaño fight was entertaining, the fucking Jared Hurd fight was entertaining, but why? It's because the other guy's imposing his will on you, and he's forcing you to fight. When you're having a fight and it's going your way, it seems like you take a minimalist approach. You pot shot the guy. It's one at a time. You don't throw very many punches. You just spend a lot of time on the move. The Canelo fight pissed me off because that could have been decisive if you hit the gas, but you got to take chances. You don't talk
You
yourself
just
into a
described
Canelo.
Floyd Mayweather.
I can't say that because it was decisive.
I think honestly, the Canelo fight. I think the Clenbo sticks. The Clenbo sticks came into play. Just Lara got a bit winded and started to do his, he just used veteran tactics. But I really think that's the start of I mean, I'm not sure how long man's been on Clenbo, but I started watching that. Like I went back and watched him. And I was like, yeah, man's been on this Clenbo thing for a while because I saw there's been a switch in his gas tank from about post Mayweather, right? I think it's maybe even before, yeah, even in the Trout fight. You know what I mean? I said it's just the fact that he still had wind, and Lara had kind of, was working with, because I think he got a second wind and got in there. I still don't think Canelo won, but that's this thing. That's Cuban school versus quote unquote Mexican style. But yeah, Lara's back with Salas. He's in camp. He's got a fight coming up because he's in camp with my boy Andy, and Andy's got his pro debut on the 21st, and Lara's got a fight coming up shortly after.
I'm gonna say that since he's not with Ronnie, because I had a lot of questions. I didn't know how to feel about how Lara looked against because that's a bad style matchup too. It could have been that. I ain't know if is Lara getting old and he just ain't got it no more, or is it just look, Castaño's a pressure guy, man. Hold on, my son bothering me again. What you want? My son is annoying, man.
No, but I just want to piggyback on something you said. You said he did the bare minimum in his fights, right?
It felt that way, yeah. It feels that way.
But that's the same way that Floyd fought himself. He wasn't southpaw.
I can't say that. I can't. I can't say that.
Hold on, Troy. Hold on, Troy. Troy, did you watch the Ricky Hatton Floyd fight?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Too much. Can I say this, Troy? Too much of Floyd's critiques and criticisms come from what he did as a welterweight. Like, bro, that's the 4th division he got to. You know what I'm saying? That dude was fucking people up, destroying people.
Yeah, but Julius,
he had to accommodate glass hands.
Now in the Hatton fight, it was Hatton that made the fight because Hatton
I don't know if I agree with that. I think Floyd beat him on the inside and sparked his ass.
Yeah.
And Ricky thought he was going to go in there and bully him, and it didn't work out that well for him.
All I'm saying is I cannot use Lara as a parallel for Floyd because I've seen far more ass whoopings from Floyd that were supposed to be ass whoopings, by the way. I've seen far more ass whoopings, and too much judgment comes to Floyd by way of the welterweight division. Dog, he fought in 5 fucking weight classes. That was a boxing lesson he put on Canelo. That was sensational. That was sensational.
That's actually something he should have done. Because at the time, Canelo's toughest fight was Trout. So, I wasn't surprised he beat him that way at all. But back to Lara. No. Back to Lara. Lara had that fight with the hard punching guy that
Angulo.
Perro. Huh?
Angulo. El Perro Angulo.
Yeah, he had that. And he stood his ground with him. He outboxed him for a little bit, but he had to hurt him. So I would agree with that.
I'll say Angulo's right? Angulo, pressure guy. I'll say he's a C+ to a B- pressure guy. Jared Hurd, B+ pressure guy. Brian Castaño, I still feel that kid has a high ceiling, but he needs to get away from the PBC to tap into his full potential because he could be better. He might suffer under that banner, but he's a pressure fighter. Lara is a.
How do you look against the Charlo? Didn't he fight one of the Charlo brothers?
Nah, I wish he did.
Didn't fight one of them?
Nah.
They
No,
said
listen.
they
Did he
were on
fight recently?
Friday.
Hang on.
They trained in the same camp, didn't they?
Remember, I think I
Those
told you this,
stablemates.
Julius. Maybe I'm not sure why I told you this. I've seen Lara spar years ago. Saw Lara
Don't
spar
say
the.
don't say nothing. Lennox, don't say nothing. He embarrassed him, didn't he?
Yes.
I've been fucking look. See? Ring IQ, goddammit. I've been saying
Did I
this.
tell you this? I thought I told you this. He
No,
schooled him.
listen, I've been saying this longer than we've known each other, right? They kept the Charlo brothers away from Lara because that is a bad style matchup for those guys, all right? Lara, even though he a lot smaller than Tony Harrison, who I like, by the way, I really like him as a pure boxer. I really like watching him. My only drawback with Tony, and it's not his fault per se, he really can't take a punch for some reason. Lara can. You understand?
did you see Beats' video after he got knocked out by Charlo Harrison?
Nah.
Beats was like, if you're that good a boxer, you deserve a better chin. It's just not fair.
Well, fam,
Because
let
he
me
is.
just-
Because he's a lovely boxer, but he's fragile.
fam,
Tony wasn't active enough in that fight, but that's why he got stopped. He wasn't active enough.
But let's talk about Lara and the Charlos. Talk about a clinic. Yeah, I wish I could share some of the stuff. Talk about a clinic. There's no way Ronnie Shields or any of them, man. I'm talking about just a clinic. I've net like Charlo was missing air, just purely air. Lara, and what people forget is Lara being this thing. And I think I told you. I think I called. Remember, I said that Hurd would lose in his next big fight after he fought Lara because I noticed that he wasn't that strong. Lara's a lot stronger. I remember I said that. I was like, Lara was, and I've got clips on my phone of him hurting Hurd, and I was like, this guy's not that strong for a big fucking six. This thing, like,
let's be fair, Lennox. Let's be fair. And I don't know what the hell is going on there. By the way, if I'm being honest, I just don't know how that man makes that weight. If I'm being honest, but I think it's not.
But didn't he pull out of the rematch when there was going to be
yes
VADA testing?
But
So
he said, to be fair, that's true, John. There was going to be VADA testing and he pulled out, but also he was between trainers. So I looked at that and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be an overly critical person and an asshole. The dude don't want to take on that fight when he's between trainers. That's the same shit as Andy Ruiz and Dillian White, if we're going to be fair.
But no. I mean, in all fairness, I know that was the case, but it is suspicious.
It
I
is.
haven't got any proof. And I'm okay with people giving him a pass. But how tall is Hurd?
Hurd is about, what, 5'11", maybe 6 feet?
I thought he was 6 foot, maybe 6'1".
no, Hurd is easily 6'2".
Is he?
Bro, how is he making that weight? Because I think
I don't
killing
know.
himself. That's why he's making it. Just like
I'm
Spencer's
6.
killing himself to make 147.
No, listen. I'm a full 6. I'm officially last physical 6 3/4. I say 6'1".
Okay.
I've been in the gym with Hurd. Hurd is significantly taller than me. Hurd is he's about 6'1", but with the hair and all that, it's about 6'2".
You're a super middle
frame.
I'm a middle. Yeah, 68.
Hurd
But
don't
when
have.
you're stood next to him in the gym, is he significantly physically bigger than you as well?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Look at Hurd's frame. If you look at Sebastian Fundora, or you look at Willie Nelson, or even Alantez Fox, who's at middleweight, right? They frame, even though they tall, they frame ain't that big, bro. Hurd looked like he could make light heavyweight. He got
so I could send you. I could send you a picture of me and. I'll send you a picture of me and Caleb Plant working out, and we're about the same size. So Caleb makes 168, and he works hard to make 168. So if I'm telling you that me and Caleb were in the gym, we're about similar size, and I tell you that Hurd is significantly bigger than Caleb.
But do you not think that's why he was weak against Lara? Because he's killing himself to get down there. And he's just leaving everything on those scales.
I'm not saying Lara's strong. I'm not using just that one fight. I'm talking about, I've been in camp with him, and I'm telling you that this man is smaller and is bullying the Charlos.
Lennox, no, we're gonna stop, Lennox. You're not gonna fucking sit here on this show and try to sell me Lara. Like, I'm sorry.
yeah, because I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle with this. With Cuban fighters, what there needs to be some.
I'm not selling
how to take them from that Cuban school to the professional ranks.
and
because
that
the
is
Cuban
Ishmael
food
Salas.
teaches. Yeah, but they're taught to win boring. You got someone
Yeah.
like Rigondo who's got a killer punch on him. Like in that weight class, he could make it exciting, and he just doesn't because no one's explained to him what he needs to do to not just win a fight, but to make it
I got to
entertaining.
jump in here on that one. I got to jump in. How's he not doing that when he's knocking people out? I mean, if you look at his
Look,
record,
I like Rigondo, right? I like him, but somebody like the Cubans are taught to fight in a particular way, and it just doesn't often translate well to professional bouts.
Let's
And
also
Rigondo's got all the attributes required to translate that, and he can't put it together.
But it's not just that. It's that look, Rigo. I think what most people don't realize is in this country, right? As far as Afro-Caribbean folks go, there's not that many Cubans in this country, so they never develop a very big following. You understand? It's not like when the Puerto Rocks had Felix Trinidad, where it was mad Puerto Rocks in New York City. It's mad Puerto Rocks all over the place. So the average Cuban fighter that could fight and comes to this country, he's coming in at a deficit because you are high risk and a low reward. And it's going to be hard to make it a rewarding fight for people because the demographic is not there to get behind you. If there were more of a bigger, like even in New York, yo, I could count on one hand how many Cuban people I met my whole life.
But what about Miami, Julius? Are there a lot in Miami or not? Is that
in Miami there? But what about the rest of the country? In Miami,
in New York, how many Puerto Ricans are there?
Millions.
Everywhere. Okay, I don't know. I've never been to the States.
But this is the point that I'm making, that a Puerto Rican fighter could develop a following because there's so many Puerto Ricans there to get behind them. But the Cubans, there's not that many here in this country. Like, it really ain't that many. I could count on one hand.
I think it's also the style's a bit more advanced. Like, you really got to be a boxing fan. It's more of a chess style. It's not the get punched in your face. So you got to be a bit more of an advanced. A casual person can't really appreciate.
Rigan Diaz was that guy, though. Rigan Diaz was that guy because I watched the fight.
Yeah.
Yes, he might be polished, but he will knock you out. I mean,
no. Look, he is that guy. But listen, Julius, I wasn't selling you on my dude. You know what I mean? Like, we've had this before. All I was telling you is what you know, and you've known this for a fact, whether I told you or not, that they kept that the Charlo brothers were kept as far away from that man as possible because they knew exactly what would happen, and I witnessed it firsthand. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna tell you something. Now I gotta because of what you told me that he's with Salas, I gotta fucking redo the shit I did. I might not because I'm fucking lazy. Because I was talking about Lara's next fight in a thing I did. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I was wondering if he's still with Ronnie, because Ronnie, God bless him, I don't like how these guys have been looking under Ronnie. I don't like how Rigo looks under Ronnie. I don't like that shit. I don't know why Rigo's doing that shit. He's fighting deep in the pocket. He's getting hit. Who was that guy that he fought? That's the Seha fight. Like, bro, this dude is 40-something years old. You don't need to get hit like that. The fuck is going on?
What's Rigo's reach as well? He's got stupid long arms for that weight class.
And he was getting hit with shit that he didn't need to get hit with. And I think it was the Seha fight. Then he fought the other guy. I think it was Liborio Solis. And the drawback with that fight was, okay, now you're using your legs, but you're not throwing any punches. Like, you're not doing nothing. You're just chasing you around the ring. I don't really know where Rigo is at, but at least now I have a better idea of where Lara is at. Because if Lara was Ronnie, I'm not liking it.
You know what? Go check your Instagram. I tagged you on posts with Andy training, and then go on Salas' page. Go on the Salas boxing page. You'll see him.
You're not gonna sell me Lara, Lennox. I'm just
I'm not selling you anything. I was just telling you. I believe things that I've told you already. I'm not selling you anything, fam. We're having a conversation. I just gave you information on the fact that he's in camp with a personal friend of mine. Okay, like that's my boy's going pro, and I think I told you, it's like he's going pro at 112 on the 21st on Telemundo, and he's in camp right now. They're training with Salas. That's all. You didn't know that. Now
I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be fair.
Let me say this, right?
I just want to say one thing, Troy. One thing.
Okay.
If Erislandy Lara beats Jermel Charlo, I am a fan because for him to do that, if he can pull that off at either 37 or 38 years old, that is inspiring.
No. You were talking about their trainer. You call Ronnie. You call him Ronnie
Yeah,
Shields.
Ronnie Shields.
Right, but you know what? Different trainers work with different fighters. Adrian Davis is a great trainer, man. I think with his style, that that actually would have fit these Cuban fighters. That when they came out, like you take like a Rigondeaux, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Laura, and who's the other one that made Crawford famous? I forgot his name.
Gamboa.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's his thing. He knows how to maximize speed, timing, and distance. He's worked with 14 or 15 champions. He's basically going to be in the Hall of Fame. Ronnie, I think, is more or less a power guy. He knows how to. He's more or less, I think, a power guy. He's not so much as a slick guy because he wasn't a slick guy when he was a fighter, right? So he's more or less. You could stay close to him, you could move, and then you could catch him with something good. That doesn't always work for these guys because they're very slick.
See, with
They're
Rigo,
very slick and doesn't always work.
With Rigo, the reason I blame Ronnie, right, is Rigo went back. He loses the Loma fight. He goes away for a while. He comes back, and when he comes back, remember, nobody could have beat Rigo at that weight. He goes back to and nobody was going to beat this guy at his weight, fighting the fight that he normally fights, right? But when he came back, he wasn't fighting that way. He's trading hooks in the pocket. He's getting hit, and I'm like, all right, what's the difference between now and then? The fucking difference.
Ronnie Shields.
Ronnie Shields.
Go watch his fight against Spinks. That's how he fought. That's why he lost.
So I thought, you know what? Why does Ronnie have Rigo doing this shit when there was nothing wrong with what Rigo was doing? You understand? Like, yo, most guys can't beat him at this weight, dog. He hits like a truck at this weight. So I don't know why you got him doing all this bullshit instead of setting up counter shots to hit guys with shit they don't see like he normally does. So I thought, I don't know what, Rigo don't have his legs anymore, so Ronnie's teaching him to fight in the pocket? Is that what it is? Because he's older? Why is he doing this dumb shit? And all I could think is, you know what? Ronnie just ain't that much of a trainer. Or he ain't what he used to be because a lot of guys been looking kind of doo-doo under Ronnie.
Because he trains one way. The same thing with Rooney. Okay, remember Tyson's old trainer?
Yeah, Kevin Rooney.
Yeah, he trained every fighter the same way. Every fighter, when it comes to training, it's not one size fits all. That's why I actually learned that by studying Eddie Fudge. Eddie Fudge would take your strength and show you how to maximize that, but he would take your weakness also and say, okay, this is where you're weak. We're gonna show you how to maximize that, and that's how he built fighters.
I gotta say this because my guy Mark is here. Tanaka beats Ioka, and you know that. That's not gonna change, all right? You understand that, right, Mark?
The very first thing you said when I joined is, I gotta say this, and then you went, and then you stopped yourself because you were about to Freudian slip.
I wasn't gonna Freudian shit.
You were.
Right?
You were.
I wasn't gonna Freudian shit. But
speaking of Freudian shits, Tanaka is going to be sleeping on the canvas.
Bro, that shit is not gonna happen, bro. Like I know you believe it, and I appreciate that you believe it, but that shit is not gonna happen, bro. Now, what the fuck was on, Mama? Because we was talking about the Teofimo shit real heavy. We was talking about that shit real heavy, and I maintain my original position. ESPN, if they so choose, have the ability to make this fight happen. But Bob is not one for gambling, and he's not one for taking risks per se, at least not financially per se. He's already putting up the bulk of the money. And if the difference between the fight happening and not happening is a couple $100,000, ESPN needs to put it up. Mark, what do you think?
Who says the difference is a couple $100,000?
Well, I don't imagine the kid wants $10 million.
Well, from what has been reported, he was offered 1.2, yeah?
Yeah.
And according to reports, the offer was way off what he wanted.
So what I mean, I can't tell you what
200,000 isn't way off. Like 800K to $1 million's way off.
Well, that's more or less what I mean. I think what Teofimo's looking for.
I believe the number is about 800K. He wants about 2 mil, which is he wants in the neighborhood of what Campbell made, which was 2 point something mil. So 2 mil would be good.
And I think ESPN has that lying around in the couch cushions, don't you? They could pull out $800,000 out of the couch cushion to make this fight happen, but they don't because they don't believe either he or the event itself is worth it. That's what's going on. But I don't put it on Bob. I don't, because nobody puts up money to lose it.
I don't think it is worth it.
You don't think it's worth it, Mark?
Well, additionally,
I think they're not going to make much money on this because nobody. I'm not trying to be funny. Nobody right now is watching boxing, and that fight ain't going to make boxing shoot from 400,000 to 2.6 million overnight.
Also, Julius, there's another factor that you didn't bring in. It's that historically on ESPN, Loma hasn't done great numbers.
Nah, we can't say that. He did what was it, 2018? I think it was the Linares fight. They did real good numbers for that fight.
Yeah, it did the Linares numbers, but it's usually about Linares brought a lot of things to the table. Like I went to that fight because of Linares, not because of Loma.
All right. What about the Pedraza fight? Was that ESPN Plus or regular ESPN? I think that was ESPN Plus. Now that I think about it, I think.
Yeah, it was ESPN Plus.
I don't remember.
According to reports, they did over 1.4 million.
Another Latino fighter, so you can't really base those numbers off Loma, right?
I mean, but I'm not trying to be funny around, but if we're going to be comparing people defensively because like they're on the back foot, like we might as well do that.
Well, I'm gonna say this, right?
No, we're not comparing their styles.
Troy, I see your point, but what I'm gonna say is, okay, does Jose normally bring in numbers like that? Did he bring in those numbers with Ray Beltran? Nah, and that was 2 Latino fighters. So the guy that brought the numbers was Loma. Pedraza's fight
out for him.
Pedraza's fight with Ray Beltran, that was the title fight. He was fighting Ray Beltran had the title. They didn't show up in droves for that fight.
Well, it's kind of a little bit of both, man. It's like, okay, one might be the steak and the other one might be the steak sauce, but when you put them both together, they work well. You get a lot out of it. I don't think Lomachenko's a big draw, and he's proven that with most of his fights, right? Because his biggest fight, but his biggest fight should have been Walters, the brother from my country, who's now turned into Space Ghost, so no one knows who the hell he is, right? So I don't know how good that did when it comes to numbers and all that.
Let's say this, Troy. Let's say this, Troy. The common denominator in a lot of situations with guys that don't normally get a lot of numbers is Loma. The Rigo fight sold out the Little Room. I believe it's the Hulu Theater in Madison Square Garden, but it sold out. Now Rigo by itself don't sell out shit. Not with no Miguel Flores and no motherfucking Jazza Dickens. Like, nah, there ain't nobody checking for that shit. So we cannot attribute those numbers to, it must have been because of Rigo. Well, maybe a little bit, but it really was more because of Loma. Because Loma moved on from that and still did good numbers with other people that were from other places.
How with everybody, man? It seems like he sells when he fights people, that are Latinos. The same thing that Floyd did when it came to his numbers.
I don't think I don't think it could be. I don't think it's as simple as this thing. I feel like he does numbers with a dance partner, but like what's his numbers with Corolla? Right, he needs a dance partner that could chat a bit of shit. Like I remember the Linares when he posted the meme sitting on the throne next to the phone waiting for the call, and there was just a bit of like polite banter between the two of them. He does numbers when he's got someone to sell a fight for him.
Also, let's be honest. I think we're overanalyzing it because it's simple. Actually, he does well when the fight is a good fight. Because if you putting out which goes back to what me, John, and what we was talking about before. That look, when the fight's great, when the fighters are great. Boxing is great. So when you got a good fight, people know it's a good fight and they're going to watch it. They know it's a good fight. Now I wasn't like these guys that was talking about, oh, Luke ain't like. No, Luke could fight, man. Don't take them Linares fights out of context, because Linares is a good fighter, but y'all don't give him no credit. And he's a good fighter. He ain't perfect.
Yeah.
He got a lot of scar tissue. He cuts kind of easy. He doesn't take the best punch, but he can fight. Don't get it twisted. Losing to Linares ain't no shame in that. That dude was a three-division champion when he fought him. They ain't supposed to be easy.
Are we just gonna let that comment slide that Nicholas Walters should have been Lomachenko's biggest fight?
Yeah, I don't understand that, Troy.
Yes, it should have been his biggest fight because
Why?
at the time,
Why?
who else did he fight that was bigger that had a bigger name than Walters?
Rocky Martinez.
Rocky Martinez is a bigger name than Walters.
Bro,
Yes.
you gotta be no, wait. Let me do it for you, Troy. Rocky Martinez fought Mikey Garcia. He fought motherfucking Orlando Salido, and he was WBO champion. If we're gonna compare who fought names that was like a name, I don't
Did he
think
beat those guys?
Now
Did he
hold
beat
on.
him?
I think he beat Salido, right? He beat Salido, lost to Mikey. If we're gonna compare those names on the premise of which was the bigger name, as far as okay, well, who been in some shit fights, some fights that was some shit, and who had more marquee value? Rocky had more marquee value than Nicholas. Nicholas sat out for a year.
No.
Nicholas sat out
No.
for
No,
a
I'm
year.
not. Listen, I'm gonna say
Nicholas
this.
did sit out for a year, but at the time, before he sat out for a year, he had beat Donaire. He beat who's the other guy? Darchinian. Then he came back and beat this undefeated guy here. I don't remember his name.
Okay.
Then
Can I say something?
Hang on, can I? Like,
Okay.
I think the point.
Okay,
I
hold
think
up.
the point Troy's trying to make.
Let me finish. Then he was robbed. Then he was robbed and given a draw against a real tough guy that he actually beat. Huh?
Sosa.
Sosa, yeah, because he beat him. And then so that's 4 tough guys he actually beat, and he knocked out 2 of them. I think he did knock out 2 of them, and he was just known as a guy that could punch and a guy that could go 12 rounds or whatever. And he was a tough guy, and yada yada yada. And
it's stuff that's not being said, right? I remember the build up for that fight, right? Now I remember that Nicholas sat out for a year, right? And in that year, there was pictures of him floating around, and he looked like a fucking middleweight.
It's 11 months, Julius. You can't say a year. The Lomachenko fans will
yeah,
say
because
I
he was
hate
having contract issues. That's why he sat out, and he got fat.
I'm saying
he got real fat.
I'm only saying that. I'm only bringing that into it, Troy, because of people's perception of the fight. They're like, damn, dog, this dude gonna have to cut OD weight. They had this Lomachenko fight. I didn't like Nicholas Walters' odds for that fucking fight. I didn't view that fight the same as the Linares fight, for example. Why? I knew Linares has a great fucking right hand. Lomachenko is a southpaw. Ooh, that's intriguing. I want to see that. I didn't view the Walters fight like that, bro. I didn't view the Walters fight like the Campbell fight. Like Campbell, that motherfucker's about 5'10". He's a southpaw, so that cancels out that advantage for
That's because of your bias to my country, man. You know you're Jamaican. That's because you're Jamaican bias.
No, bro, I like fucking Jamaican jerk chicken. I like beef patties with cocoa bread. I don't have a bias.
And you just not helping with that comment, man.
I eat all that shit. So I don't got a bias. I'm just saying that the perception of the fight with Walters was Walters has sat out for something close to a year, right? And he's ballooning in weight. I don't give him very good odds to win this fight. But Campbell, I
agree with you. I agree with you.
I gave Campbell a fighting chance. I didn't think he would win, but I said it's going to be hard. This is going to be difficult. With Linares, I brought up the right hand. Like, you watch that motherfucking right hand because Linares will land it. If he don't land shit, he'll land that right hand. Look out, because this is not Loma's best weight.
But at the same time, though, Walters was the talk of the, even though at his best, Walters was getting spoke about on ESPN and a whole other places that
11 months.
That all these fighters you just named, Campbell, and who else? Nobody was mentioning their name anywhere.
But remember, the Campbell fight was marketed to Americans.
I think the point he's trying to make, I think there was a bit of mystique around Walters being the Axeman and the way he knocked out Donaire and blah, blah, blah. So there was a bit of chatter about that. But obviously, I don't care about power. No. But let's be honest. Yeah, if you sit out for that long, your footwork and you need good feet. You need solid feet to get in there with Lomachenko. So you sit out that long, your your dexterity and your pivots are gonna suffer, as well as a lot of things, conditioning and the rest of that. So you know what I mean. I get the whole like the Axeman and everything. They try to sell a bit of that, but being out for that long and additionally, I also, when it comes to the Linares thing, I knew Linares was going to give this guy hell, and I think that he took an out on that body shot because he was gassing.
Yes,
I think
I thought he could. I thought there was enough there that he could have went on, but he didn't want to.
he didn't want to because he was gassing. He was gassing. But you know what he did do was he had, so not the Danny Jacobs performance against this thing, because he wrote sort of a blueprint of how you handle this guy. Because what he did, he was the first man I seen take away that stupid right hand pivot that Lomachenko does. Because every time Loma did it, he pivot with him, hit him with the right, boom. And guess what? After the third round, man stopped trying it.
Teofimo Lopez, you listening?
Because yeah, that's what Linares would do. As soon as he, Loma want to do that, blah blah blah, that little move that they want to call the Matrix move. Watch that fight again. Linares would put his left hand out, measure, pivot, hit him as soon as it this thing. So it's about, you need to have a good enough this thing and this thing. And I think he was in it, but when he started gassing, I think he got hit with the body shot and said fuck it, because that fight was not Loma. That was not. I mean, if you see Loma's face after that, he was getting tagged up with a lot of them combinations.
All right, no, I gotta pull rank. I see a lot of comments that are hurting my eyes. No, Rigo is not his best win, and no, Walters is not his best win. The best win on Vasyl Lomachenko's resume is 3-division champion Jorge Linares. Y'all gonna give that man his respect because he did what Rigo didn't do. Has Rigo ever been a champion in 3-weight classes? No. Jorge has. Has Walters ever been a champion in 3-weight classes? No. Linares has. Has Gary Russell ever been a champion in 3-weight classes? No. Linares has. Give that man his respect.
Who's better, Marvin Hagler or Adrian Broner?
Come on. Why does everybody use Broner for this shit? His resume is hollow. It's not just that he's a 3-division champion. Obviously, it's the people that he's fought. And you can't say Linares hasn't fought anybody.
Mark, that was a disrespect.
Okay, who's greater, Leo Santa Cruz or Alexander Usyk?
You're still doing it though. It's not just the act. It's not just, obviously, I'm not just talking about the act of being a 3-division champion. It's not just the act. It is who you fought. You saying Linares didn't fight anybody?
This is a solid resume.
No,
I
still view Linares as his best win. Overall, Linares is a way better boxer. Well, the exception of Campbell. Campbell leveled up in the fight, but if you just look at this thing, my opinion, Linares is just like, I was more impressed, not with the win, but I looked at Linares as like, this is the guy that's really going to shut all this nonsense down and give you sort of a guideline of how you handle this guy, and he did. Campbell did, but I think Campbell's had more physical attributes or advantages that he used, and obviously you need the boxing IQ to use those advantages because there's loads of guys with reach and size that don't use it.
I'm gonna say that Lomachenko's resume, right, didn't start meaning shit to me until Linares, because Rocky Martinez, what the fuck? Huh?
That's a valid point right there. I'll second that.
Let's look at it into context, though, right? Linares is a 3-weight world champion, right? We can all agree on this. Yes, we all know this. 2 of those weight divisions, if I'm not mistaken, he picked up the title whilst it was vacant.
Okay.
That is contextual, because we give Leo the same criticism.
Yes, but relatively speaking, we're comparing Linares as a victory to Little Rigo. We're comparing Linares as a victory to Rocky Martinez, to Nicholas Walters, who was out for 11 months. So if we're using relativity as the gauge for which one of these wins is a better win than the others, it would be Linares over a guy who sat out for 11 months, and it would be Linares over a guy who came up 2 weight classes for the fight.
Mark, who have you got as Loma's best win?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think there's much of a difference between the wins.
I think Linares is a good win, not necessarily on just titles that Linares has won, but Linares is a very good boxer.
And more importantly, that was the reason. Another thing that makes it a good win. That was Lomachenko's debut at the weight, and he won by way of stoppage. Stopped him, right? So yeah, that's nice. I like that. I felt better about that than I felt about Rocky Martinez. What the hell am I supposed to do with that?
What's Linares' best win?
That's a good question.
Larios?
I have to look at his resume again. I used to know the answer to this, but I'm old. But you're saying that?
But Mark, we're not. I don't necessarily think Linares is like an all-time great. I don't think Loma's resume is that fantastic yet.
Me neither.
But out of the candidates, when you look at everything all told, I still think it's his best win currently. It doesn't necessarily put Loma in the Hall of Fame beating Linares.
Well, look, context is key. I never thought, like, I've been for fucking 3 years of this shit. Why do I always end up on both sides of an argument? For 3 years, I've been saying Loma's resume is good, relatively speaking, for a guy with 15 pro fights or 16 pro fights. That is very fucking good. But it's not the best resume I've ever seen. But if I'm gonna look at these victories individually, Linares stands out. Gary Russell don't stand out. Gary Russell hadn't proven anything. Rocky Martinez, Nicholas Walters, you sat out for 11 months. Jason Sosa, you only took the fight because nobody else wanted it. It was supposed to be Salido. If it wasn't Salido, it was supposed to be Jezreel Corrales. Now I got to go yell at my kids because they're in the living room when I told them to stay in their room.
With the only thing I'm saying, right?
What's up, fellas?
I do have a question to ask, though. Why do they call him the Matrix? I don't see him doing anything special in any of his fights. I mean, what's so special about Lomachenko? I don't see anything special about him. They said he's a combination of Roy Jones or whatever. I don't see that at all when I see him fight, at all.
I want to answer that question. I'm going to be honest, all right? And I'm not a hater. I get hate from Lomachenko fans, and I get hate from Lomachenko critics because I'm right down the middle when it comes to that guy. I don't know why they call him the Matrix. He gets hit. I don't know. I don't know. He literally gets hit. He gets marked up. So if they're calling him the Matrix on the premise of that scene where Neo dodged the bullets, bro, you don't be dodging bullets. You're fun to watch. Very fun to watch. But you don't be dodging bullets. Jorge's right hand found you, bro. Now, if his right hand hadn't have found you, then maybe we could call you the Matrix because he finds everybody else with the fucking thing. And he found you.
He found it with more than just the right hand.
So, I mean, I don't motherfucking know.
He got marked up. He got marked up by Campbell. He gets marked up. I mean, like, you know what I mean? I don't get the Matrix thing. It's just, I'm not sure what's working. It's like the other thing too. What you, Julius, you made a video. You attributed it to age, and I was just like, no, it's not really age. It's just like now everyone kind of sees what he's doing. He does a lot of the same moves, and now it's like you can predict it. You get me? Like that pivot, people follow him and turn with him on that pivot now. So it's not as in, you know what I mean? It's like what was it? The quarterback for the Cowboys, right? When he came in, like whatever, he came in mid-season and you know what I mean, nobody knew. So he's getting all these touchdowns and running all these yards. Yeah. Next season, they got tape on him. He's not doing all that shit because the defenses know exactly what to expect. That's exactly what's happening now. It's not so much weight classes and age, as everyone knows, like, all right, here's what he's going to do, especially with that pivot and that turn.
I'm going to say this, Lennox. I think the reason I say age is because that is a style. And I've been saying it for 2 years, maybe 3. You gotta move a lot. You gotta be on point a lot. You gotta be sharp a lot. Your timing gotta be right. Everything has to be right for that style to be effective. And I think it's because, you getting touched more, fight by fight, because you're getting older, fight by fight. I've been saying it for a while. He's on borrowed time. I'm not a hater. It's just, bro, that's a physical style. That style is mad physical. So you have to be physically on point to execute it. It's mad physical, that style.
I think the Matrix thing was always an illusion.
Marketing strategy.
Yeah,
Bob,
I was gonna say
Bob
that.
Arum.
I think he was hyped. I think he was super hyped, and I don't think he lived up to the hype because obviously he's still unknown.
I mean, it's not
Overall.
unknown. I know what he can do. I know who he can beat. Like, look, somebody got to stop working on a car battery because I can hear it.
No. That's actually when I say he's unknown. He's not known to to the average fan. He's known to us. That's actually me. You hear him with the beeping. That's why I keep going
my
on mute.
fault. All right. I'm gonna say this. Is what I'm gonna say, right? He's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. I think he's a great fighter. But it's hold on. Who's still working on their car battery? That
That's
is
not
the,
me now. That's not me.
yeah. That was. I think that's.
I've been on mute the whole time.
All right,
I've been on mute too. I think
all right,
it's you
let
and
me
this.
check this joint. Let me check this. All right. Now what I'm gonna say is, I think he's a great fighter. But how many lightweights bring attention to the division lately? So he's brought attention to the lightweight division. It's a hot weight class now. He brought attention to 130. People don't normally watch 130, bro. People don't normally watch 126. So
Lightweight has always been a marquee type of division. You talking about
it's
Hands of
one of
Stone
them.
came from out of there,
One of
Pernell
them.
Whitaker.
It's one of them, but you can't say that the
Not
last.
in recent years. Not in
That's
recent
what I'm saying. You can't say that the last 20 years people have been
And Tank.
hawking the
And
lightweight.
doesn't Tank fight at that weight class now?
Now,
Who? No.
Right.
No.
Right. You got guys there.
Hold on, Troy.
like-
Whose name did Tank's name get attached to the last 3 years? Whose name?
Well, his of course, because he's the bigger guy, right?
Nah. Loma's smaller than Tank because Tank never campaigned at 126.
Name wise.
There's not a lot of people that are bigger than Tank. Let's be honest.
Yeah, like the point that I'm making is more people. I lived all through the Roy Jones Jr. era. I lived all through the Mike Tyson era. The
I'm
Roy
glad a
Jones
few people
Jr.
got that joke.
I dig it. The Roy Jones Jr. era, the Mayweather era. They wasn't really talking that much about 126, 130, or 135 after a while. Not that much. Whereas now, he's getting an amount of recognition for a lightweight and a super featherweight that you hadn't seen in a while. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not telling you he's it. I'm saying everything with Lomachenko is relatively speaking. The dude only been around for what, 15, maybe 16 fights? Not bad. Do I think I never had him as pound for pound number one? No, I still don't. If anything, he's moved back from that. But you can't deny that. Yeah, that dude's a good fucking fighter, man. I wish that Jezreel Corrales would have fought him.
He's good, but he's not special.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair because I don't know a guy who could do all that except for my guy, not even Kosei. Kosei ain't do all that. God
Do
bless.
all what?
3-division champion. I mean, he's a 3-division champion, right? But not necessarily the same way that Vasyl Lomachenko did it because Vasyl Lomachenko unified. Kosei hasn't done that yet. Two of the titles that in two of the divisions that Kosei fought in, the title was vacant. Lomachenko
Crawford did it too, didn't he?
Yeah, but I thought that Crawford had him though. But I think Crawford's special. So if you in a conversation with Crawford, you gotta be special because he's fucking Crawford.
Yeah, well, I don't really think he's in the conversation. Well, I see what you're saying. As far as accomplishments go, I see what you're saying.
Now, as a boxer, I'll say that after a long time watching sport and all of that, I haven't seen nobody like Loma. I haven't. I don't. I think Bob was he was old and he didn't take his pills when he started talking to Ali shit. That's just dumb, bro. Like, come on, let's stop being stupid.
Okay,
bro.
what does he bring that you haven't seen?
I guess it's the quality of movement.
You gotta have to break that down because I'm trying to get it in my head.
Combination of his athleticism, his feinting, his pivots, his decoy punches, the way that he mixes in power shots with pity pat punches. It's all of that as a package. I haven't seen that.
You ever seen him do that against?
Hold on,
right? You ever seen him do that? You ever seen him do that against another fighter who's a slick fighter?
Well, what do we mean by slick? Like, what does that mean?
Someone who fights in a similar style like him, a mover and a puncher. Okay. A slick guy.
I dig that, but that's what. Who are we talking about? That was at 126. That was at 130.
Who fights similarly to Loma in around his own weight?
I'm not saying similar. I'm saying the guy that's known for being slick. You know, hitting moves, slipping punches.
Okay,
This is why the Devin Haney. This is why the Devin Haney fight would have been interesting.
This is why he need to have that fucking fight. He need to have that fucking fight. But that's just me. When I say that, they want to call me a Devin Haney cocksucker. Like that's foul. Like, damn, you mad? You mad at me because I want Devin Haney to get the fight? But back to the point, Devin Haney is a recent development. We can't use him. He's literally a recent development. This whole time that we've been watching these weight classes, we ain't been talking about Devin. That's a recent development. And what I'm saying is, who paralleled Lomachenko's skill set at 126, 130, or 135 the last couple of years? Who?
I can name two dudes. I can name two dudes. One of them he beat, and one I would have liked to see him against. Right. One is Gary Russell because of his speed. He beat Russell, right?
All right.
But Russell's
the
not
other
slick.
one would have been Donaire. Didn't he come up to 126 to fight Walters?
Bro, you're talking about people who are slick, known for dodging punches. Nonito Donaire is known for walking people down, beating them up.
Well, no. But he's a whole lot mobile than the last couple of guys that he fought, isn't he?
But think about it this way, Troy. Donaire got beat. Hold on, wait. Donaire got beat by Frampton at what, 126, right? That was 126?
Yes.
Older Donaire did, yeah. Older Donaire, yeah.
Yeah, but then when was he going to fight him? Loma ain't been at 126 in years.
He could have fought him before he fought Walters. You know, around the same time, before he fought Walters, around that time.
When he fought Walters, that was at 130.
No, I'm talking about Donaire fighting the same year. The same year he fought Walters was at 126. Wasn't that 130?
Let's put it this way, right? Let's put it this way. And I know that this is anecdotal. 126 wasn't kind to Nonito, right? So how would 130 have been to him? 126.
No, it's not. But I'm saying, no. You keep jumping to 130. I'm saying he could have fought. Both of them could have met at 126 while he was fighting at 126.
All right, and I guess I will concede that, okay, there was a middle ground there, but what, you're saying that because he didn't fight Nonito? Nonito's not a slickster. Like, he's not a defensive.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that would have been a good guy for me to gauge him on, someone who actually boxes and moves and can punch. I don't know anybody who's fought that didn't come straight to him recently.
Yeah, but
or
Nonito's punch at 126. Nonito's punch at 126 ain't what it is at 122 and 118.
I don't think so, because he was hurting people, and Walters is much bigger than him, and he froze him up, even though he ended up losing the fight. But he froze him up.
If he fought Walters, who beat Donaire, doesn't I can't complain in that situation. Like, all right, Donaire, you lost to Walters, you lost to Frampton. Clearly, you don't belong up here.
What I don't understand is the timeline, right? I don't understand. When do you want Loma to fight Nonito at 126? When? I want to know when.
Didn't he start out at 126 and then move to 130?
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
so when do you hold on?
To,
when do you want him to take on Nonito? Do you want him to take him on in his debut? Do you want him to take him on instead of Orlando Salido?
He fought a champion in his debut, didn't he? Why not?
I mean, but see, this is what you're doing, Troy. You're setting the bar way too high. I mean, y'all.
I didn't set the bar too high. The boy came in and asked for a championship fight.
And he got one, but you want him to fight and I'm not even knocking it, because I'm like, look, I get what he's doing, because Mikael Aloyang, he came in, he had 3 fights before he fought Zolani Tete. I get it. It's just that feels like I'm looking to complain. That's what that feel like. Like I'm a complain.
I'm not complaining at all. I'm keeping it on the level that he had it.
It sound like that. Like, goddamn, you know what? You need to rotate the tires too and change the rotor.
How am I complaining when he came in and he fought a champion? All I'm saying is he had an opportunity to fight this man who was a champion at 126.
But bro,
why didn't he fight him while he was at 126?
You see how things have gone for Nonito at or around 126.
Okay, we see that now. We see that now. I'm saying when the young man first came in his first 1, 2, 3 whatever fights, he could have fought then, because he was crying for a championship match when in his pro debut. So Bob could have said, okay, if I get him to move up to 126, because he was at 122 at the time. I'm talking about Donaire. Why don't you fight him?
Troy, I don't think Troy. I don't think I'm gonna be honest, right? I don't think you like Loma very much because I'm thinking, look, we saw wait, let me finish. We saw in the last couple of years, Nonito gets handled by Little Rigo. That was 122. He gets beat by Frampton not that long ago, very recently, though, at 126. Before that, he got handled by Walters. Why would he be the litmus test for Loma when you see how things have been going?
You didn't see that prior to that. You're talking about things you know after the fact.
Yeah,
I'm talking about what. No. We're talking about.
Honestly,
what
Troy,
we're doing is we're talking about things that didn't happen yet. This is all hypothetical. So what I'm saying is, when he was at 126, he could have fought down there, and I would have had a better gauge in my head of him. Because right now, all I can tell you is that he's fought guys really that are plotters and guys that would come to him.
That's not fair.
Honestly, listen, Troy. I'd have to say, if I recall the timeline correctly, things between these fighters never lined up, so it's really a non-issue. Like 126 between Donaire and this thing lined up, and honestly, the upper weights have not been kind to Donaire, which is why he dropped back down. But what I will say, hang on, to circle back to what the conversation we started with, is that I would like Uncle Bob to stop pissing about and let Haney fight Loma so we can see something.
Well, the problem with
that's pretty much what I'm saying. I haven't seen anything.
The problem with that fight is not the fight. The problem with the fight is that
Uncle Bob.
If you know what it. Be fair, Lennox. Be fair. Be fair. You're not being fair. Be fair. If you want me to send Devin over to you, you gotta pay him what I'm paying him. That's how it works. Now Bob ain't gonna fucking do that. Bob ain't gonna do that. But at the same time,
which is a statement I meant.
We ain't gonna send Loma to you. You want Loma to fight on the zone. Call a spade a spade. You want him to fight on the zone because y'all want to pay him. And Bob ain't gonna do that.
Eddie would overpay. Eddie would overpay Loma more.
Of course he would overpay him.
He'd overpay him.
No, but
then let Loma go over and get the money. That's all I want.
Yeah, but Bob blocked that by petitioning for the franchise, didn't he? Specifically.
I know. I'm trying to make a point. I know. Come on, I know.
But I think it feeds back into your point, Lennox, because I think the reason he did it was because he's under pressure from ESPN to deliver content.
Can you imagine?
He can't afford Loma to be going elsewhere.
Can you imagine if the executives over there at ESPN, right? They look out the window, the big pane windows in the big building. And they see Loma going over there. Oh, yeah, Loma's going to fight on the zone, guys, for one fight. They offered him a lot of money. I couldn't say no. You imagine how they're going to feel about Bob? Like, so basically you're saying a guy who's supposed to be one of your main guys, you let him go somewhere else. So we get what? We get Burchelt versus Kenna Hunt or Kenna Goya? It's not realistic. It's not realistic. But my thing is, I don't like the shit that Devin Haney gets because for all the people, they say, oh, he hasn't fought anybody. Who's trying to fight him is what I want to know. Nobody. Ain't nobody trying to fight. Like who?
And on the flip side to what I was saying, I would like to see Telefimo fight somebody. This is why I want to see this fight so bad because I don't know anybody that Telefimo fought. I really don't. I understand he fought a champion.
And Richard Comey, that's a really good win. Context is key, and that's why boxing gets treated.
I know about Comey, but Comey is just a wide swinger, so I didn't expect him to win.
Fam, chill. You're not gonna disrespect Richard like that. You're not gonna disrespect Richard like that because that fight he lost to Teofimo is arguably his only legitimate loss. He beat Robert Easter. He got robbed. He got robbed against the Russian. You're not going to disrespect Richard like that. Fam,
now, Lennox, let's prefix this. He wasn't robbed against Shafikov. He wasn't robbed. That was a decision that was close. There's a difference. Come on. You know that.
He robbed against Easter, though.
Yeah, that's what I was just. Thank you, Julius. I was just.
I think he was robbed against Easter, but Shafikov, that shit was close. That shit was very close.
robbed Shafikov too. He used to rob a lot of people. He's got assault charges, and I mean, burglary, whatever. He robbed a lot of fucking people. All right.
Grand larceny. Grand larceny.
One thing Easter doesn't have is assault charges, mate. He's not active enough.
You're right. That guy don't throw punches. Just watch the Bartholomew fight. Matter of fact, don't watch the Bartholomew fight because it's not a fight. It's a waltz. But
yeah, but
someone should edit that with waltz music. Someone should edit that with waltz music.
All I'm gonna say about Loma is, right, I've never had the consensus opinion of Loma. I have my opinion of Loma, and based on what I see, this is a good fighter, but he's looking a lot to me, and you can feel free to disagree, like a pocket, like a moment in time. He is not. I don't feel that he's gonna. I don't see him becoming like a Manny Pacquiao. Far from it. I definitely don't see him becoming a Floyd. I don't see that. I'm sorry. I don't think he's going to be around long enough for that to happen. I think something similar is true when it comes to Usyk. I don't see you being here for all that long, bro. I just don't see it. But for right now, given what he's done, yeah, he's a sensational boxer. He is. I can't take that away from him. How many fucking guys is doing that in 15 fights or 16? He's a great fighter.
Very few.
I mean, that's a part of the reason he's not going to be around as long, because he has such a decorated amateur background. It's just causality. He ain't going to be here forever. But while he's here, yeah, he did great shit. Did great shit. What he doesn't have, in all honesty, and that's not even his fault, what he doesn't have is an adversary. They wanted it to be Davis, but that turned out to be a lot of farts.
The adversary he was supposed to have, correct me if I'm wrong, was meant to be Mikey Garcia. Was meant to.
And the Mikey shit, I'm not dealing with the bullshit from nobody. Mikey walked away. Period. You think about it. You decided to wait. Let me do this. You decided that you could go to DAZN for Jesse Vargas, but you couldn't go to Top Rank for Loma, even though you went up to Loma and Aegis Climbers and said, "Yo, we need to do a pay-per-view." Well, what happened to that energy? It ain't because you was loyal to Showtime. You fucking left Showtime.
I don't like how he gets a pass for taking on a 147 pounder.
Yeah, I don't like
Mikey knew that he couldn't lose in that situation because nobody really thought he could win. So Errol was in a lose-lose situation in that fight, because if he beats him, he beat up a little lightweight. If he doesn't knock him out, which is what happened, he doesn't look good. And if he'd lost, it would have been all over for Errol. So Mikey knows that. Mikey's not a stupid guy. Mikey knows the business of boxing. So it was, in my opinion, he did run from Loma.
He's a smart look, Mikey. God bless him, because I actually really enjoy watching him fight below.
He's a very fucking good fighter, man.
He's a great fighter. That's why I wanted to see him fight.
And if I'm gonna be honest, all right, these is lucid moments of clarity. These is epiphany moments. Mikey Garcia and his fucking hairline of gold stood the best chance of knocking out Vasyl Lomachenko. He stood the best.
Pound for pound, real fast, Julius, real quick. Does Mikey have the best hairline in boxing? Pound for pound.
It's him and Danny, man. Danny has quality shit going on. Danny has quality. That's a hell of a hair. That hairline will last the test of time. Look at his father. His father's eyebrows go right into his hairline. That's quality shit. But
I think Danny's got to hold that title.
I don't know, man. Mikey's got a real strong argument. But in all honesty, the last 4 years, I gave Mikey the best chance to beat Vasyl Lomachenko. The best chance out of everybody that's been at or around these weights. He stood the best. If he lands that right hand clean, dog, it could be over. But now we'll never know. And whose fault was that? It wasn't Vasyl Lomachenko's, bro. You wanted to quote unquote dare to be great when we all know that was a cop out. That's all that was. That was a cop out. If you lose,
I hate the dare to be great shit, man.
The fucking
it didn't work for Amir Khan. It didn't work for Kell Brook, and it didn't work for Mikey.
There's exceptions to the rules. There is exceptions to the rules, but they are very few and far between, and all of them have something in common. They've all ended up or are going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I don't think that and I still don't think he belongs at 47. I still don't. That Jesse
Mike-
Vargas.
Mike-
No, he doesn't belong there at all. He doesn't belong there at all because
soggy at those weights.
if you watch the last fight he had with Vargas, when Vargas was punching him, he moved him. Vargas could move him. He probably could hurt Vargas after he hit him with 10, 12 punches, but Vargas could move him with one punch.
Vargas is
not a monster.
huge, bro. He's huge.
For a welterweight.
Yeah, but he's not a monster at welterweight. He's not no big you. He's not a monster. He really should be at 140 or 135.
Let's
Well,
be
to
honest.
be fair, he should be, but he was actually coming down in weight. Vargas from
Yeah, he came
154.
from 54. Came from 54. Vargas ain't little. That's not like if we're talking about his frame, Vargas is what 5'10", 5'11". It's just he don't punch that hard because that's he could box. Vargas could box.
But you know most guys who fight at 147 are really walking around at 165.
Yeah.
But Mikey should not be up there with them because he's not a big guy at all.
No, the thing is, Mikey's playing the game. He knows if I go to 40, I'm not going to fight Jose Ramirez. My brother trains him, and I don't want to deal with Top Rank, so that takes both Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor off the table anyway. I don't want to deal with Top Rank, even if Taylor beats Ramirez. Well, I don't want to work with Top Rank, so I don't want to fight him either. So what? I'm gonna go down there. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna go down there and risk it all against Regis Pregarius, Ivan Berenchik? Nah, I'm good. You can solve it by yourself or whatever his name is. Nah, I'm good. I'm not doing that.
Can I say something real fast?
Okay.
Is there a possibility that in the 2 fights Mikey's had at welterweight, he's made more in those 2 fights than he had in the rest of his career?
Yes, he has. That's a fact. That's a fucking fact. That's why he gonna stay up there. He gonna stay up there. He not going to 40. Even though I would love for him to go to Mikey Garcia versus Ivan Berenchik is a sensational fight, but he ain't gonna have it because why would I do that when I got $7 million for Jesse Verga?
Yeah. Oh, what? So how much money are you really gonna make, even as an A-side name against Berenchik? $1 million at best.
So this guy could fucking try to maul you the whole. That's the other shit. They're like, yo, the dog. Ivan might not win.
If Mikey had stayed at lightweight to fight Loma, how much money do you think would have been in that fight?
I don't know, but I don't think Mikey would have made more against Loma than he did against Vargas.
I think you're probably right.
I agree with you.
I think best case scenario is 4 million.
Because a lightweight fight, even if it's undisputed, it's still a lightweight fight, isn't it?
Mikey, look, let me say what nobody else is saying. Mikey is a business mogul, like literally. He's in the real estate.
100%. Mikey doesn't even like boxing that much, does he? He just makes money.
Yeah, like
Mikey
Mikey
be a police officer.
About me. Mikey doesn't give a shit about me. He don't care about what fights I want to see. He just want to sell houses and shit. And I ain't mad at him. You know, he's I gave Mikey so much more credit than so many, and this is why I go easy on him a little, because he was underappreciated. Y'all sucking Loma dick for beating Rocky Martinez. Bro, I've been beat that guy. Why you ain't suck my dick? I like blowjobs. Ain't do that to me.
I understand it, because I also know why Alexander Usyk wanted to move to heavyweight. You ain't, like, outside of the World Boxing Super Series, because they were paying extraordinary money for people who'd win that. Outside of that tournament, right? You ain't getting jack shit at cruiserweight.
You're not. That's a fact.
So you move up. Go up there. He's going to make more against Derek Chisora than any other cruiserweight's going to make currently fighting.
No, that's totally true, Mark. Totally true. It's a shame.
That's against a gatekeeper. That's against a gatekeeper, which is virtually what Jesse Vargas is.
Listen, man.
I think that's a bit unfair to Derek, because whilst his level of boxing may not be that high, Derek can sell.
Austin Goulamarian and Lunga Makabu could have a fucking super fight in the Walmart parking lot. That shit ain't gonna get them the money that fighting Derek is gonna get you.
I'll say this. Lebedev and Guillermo Jones put on one of the best fights I've seen in the last 10 years. Last 15 years. Easy money. One of the best fights I've watched in the last 15 years. Not many people have really watched it. There isn't a fuck ton of people who can turn around and say they've watched it.
Hold on a minute, Mark. You probably know the answer to this. I'm just asking the question. In Russia, how much money and how many eyes were on that fight? Because Lebedev, I always thought made big money in Russia.
I have zero fucking clue, bro. I don't. It's very hard to get a hold of Russian viewing figures.
Fair enough. No, but I think it's sometimes just the billionaires just spend money, don't they? Because they like to put the event on.
Yeah, because he's always with Ryabinsky taking saunas, man.
Outside of Russia, the cruisers definitely don't make any money. You got to be a Russian cruiser to make money. And Alexander isn't. He's Ukrainian.
He's Ukrainian, and he beat a Russian. In Russia.
Exactly. So
in Moscow.
Yeah. I don't think it's good for Alexander in the cruiserweight division. I think you're right.
He's another Capricorn, by the way, in case you didn't know.
I think the most amount of money Usyk could possibly make is outside of maybe Joshua or Fury, one of those two guys, is Povetkin. Them two in Russia would be massive.
Yeah, but no, I mean
those Russian purses are big, Julius. They're big.
They are big.
They're big purses.
Yeah, that's somebody else who I think is overhyped. It's Usyk. I think he's overhyped. I can't.
No, all right, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that to my Capricorn brother. You're not gonna do that. No, we're not gonna do this. Nobody. We're not gonna do this because nobody hits the ground running the way that guy hit the ground running.
No, but I'm hearing people.
What do you mean by that? No. What do you mean by that?
I have never seen anybody hit the ground running the way that Usyk did. Not only am I going to beat you, not only, no.
I don't understand what you mean.
I'm going to take your belt and I'm going to do it not where I live, where you live, motherfucker. And I did that shit over and over and over and over to the point where I capped off my cruiserweight campaign by beating Tony Bellew in his backyard. No, we're not doing that with Usyk. You can do that with Loma.
Hold on a minute, Julius. At cruiserweight, he's not overhyped. But the amount of people that think he's going to just dominate the heavyweight division,
I don't think
it's disproportionate.
I don't think
he's overhyped.
I don't think. No.
I know you don't.
No. Not overhyped. Not overhyped. Don't confuse that. What you are hearing is respect. Like, yo, dog, I don't know what the fuck those heavyweights are going to do to you.
Maybe from you, Julius. But from other people who have got agendas, I hear that Usyk is going to destroy Joshua.
Yeah, but
I haven't heard you say that. But
because I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I know you don't. I know you're a sensible person. But when it comes down to hype, I think at heavyweight, Usyk is overhyped. I'm not sure he's going to do anything.
Usyk's going to eat a left hook and dislocate the rest of his elbow and arm at heavyweight.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
Falling apart, and I don't think the weight's doing him any favors, to be honest.
But we're talking. But remember what the conversation was.
At cruiserweight,
everything
you can give him everything. That's fine.
That is a guy that
the only cruiser I put ahead of him is Evander.
I'll say. That's how you know that this guy's a warrior. You didn't have to do it that way. You could have been a little slut, little debutante, like, no, I am not fight in fucking Russia. You could have did all that bullshit. You could have did that. Fuck it, let's fight. They want to fight. I want to fight. I'm the shit, and I'm gonna prove it. I gotta. It would be wrong for me to not acknowledge that this guy was given the opportunity to do all the shit that we complain we don't get, and he fucking did it. So I'm no talk like that about Usyk. And now he's at heavyweight, dancing with the big men, and he might get beat the fuck out of. But
he did turn down a fight with Povetkin.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, but that's a heavyweight
dog. Like,
that's a heavyweight fight. That's not fair.
I know. No.
We're discussing heavyweight.
Hang on. We're discussing heavyweight, and you were talking the Russian thing, and he did turn down a Povetkin fight because he claimed the political reasons, Ukrainian versus Russian.
Let me have this, bro.
Like he turned down a white fight too, didn't he?
No, hang on. Listen. No.
He turned down a fight with Dillian White. Dillian White dismissed him.
Dillian White said, "I'm not fighting him because he doesn't speak English." And then he went and he fought against Oscar Rivas, who doesn't speak English.
Hang on. Let's not overrun my point. I was talking about the Povetkin shit, and I was just going. Just me Just the Povetkin thing. I don't care about the other thing. He did turn down the Povetkin thing. That's a fact. And just saying that to fuck with Julius strictly, and that's it.
Why do you have to fuck? Can't you just let me have that? I don't ask for much, bro. Leave Usyk alone. I don't ask for shit.
Nah, fam, I left him alone at the cruiserweight thing, but you know what I mean, there was quite a few million on for the Povetkin thing in Russia.
This is why you're an asshole. I don't even ask people to like the fucking video as they watch it. I don't even ask people to do that. But I start, no, can I have this Usyk shit? No, you can't have that. No, because, like, bro. What the fuck?
I'm going to say one thing on Usyk, right? There's very few people in boxing who do what he's done. Very few. They go into a division, they go into everybody's backyard and on the road, and they go undisputed.
I've never seen that.
I'm not taking anything away from him.
I said currently. Go ahead and name all the current boxers who fought everybody in the back.
Troy, in the four belt era, to become undisputed is hard enough. In the three belt era, tell me someone who won all of those belts away not in their home country.
Well, I could if I was still that deep and passionate. And didn't Shields
I'm not
do
sure
it?
there's too many guys.
No. But didn't Shields do that?
Fam, you can't take away.
Shields didn't do that.
Troy, you can't take away. You can't take away Usyk's accomplishments at cruiserweight. Listen, I might take the piss out of Julius, but at cruiserweight, I give it to him. I'll give it to him at cruiserweight. He's amazing.
Hold on, let this play.
What the heck is that?
That's your guy, Alexander.
Okay,
my fucking
okay. Let me say this about Usyk. Let me say this. I can tell you how I see him. He's a very good boxer. He takes some time to warm up. He's like a very good Chevy. And once he warms up, he gets going. He gets into a rhythm, and you're not going to beat him because he has your rhythm. He has your rhythm at that point, and he's timing you, and you're just going to blow your win on him, and he's eventually going to stop you.
I'm going to tell you something.
That's what I see him.
I'm going to tell you something about Usyk, right? I don't know and I said this to John. I remember that I was like, I don't think this guy's going to be here for 10 fights. But what I will say is, the dude is a threat. If he makes it past Chisora, then I get nervous.
That's a big if. That's what I'm waiting for.
And yes, I'm waiting for that's why I set the stage that way. That's why I set the stage that way. If he goes in there and dominates Chisora, if he dominates him, right? Not competitive. If he does that, now I'm nervous because don't let him get the chance. If you let him get the chance and he gets in front of Joshua, right, now this is a different conversation. This is a different conversation. The way I see Joshua beating him is I don't gotta fucking box you, you little shit. I'm gonna run you over, all right? But that's what Derek's trying to do. That's what Derek's trying to do.
Derek's gonna try and run him over because that's what Derek.
No, but you understand he is 6'3", right? And he fights at what 230, so he's not small.
What?
He's like 221. I think what was his weight for the Chaz Witherspoon fight? 220 something, right?
Witherspoon.
I'll get it. He's definitely 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. He's not tiny heavyweight.
He's not small.
He's got a similar dimension.
I could have sworn he was below 220 when he fought Witherspoon.
No, hold on.
You got what the weights
once again, gentlemen, you're not gonna do this to Usyk. Look at the pictures of Vladimir Klitschko when he was helping Usyk spar. Usyk looks like a fucking light heavyweight. He is small for the weight. He's small for that weight.
I'm talking about length, Julius. He's 6'3" and 78-inch reach. So he's got similar length to Dillian, but Dillian's got a heck of a lot of weight.
He's not too dissimilar in size to Joseph Parker. In
terms of weight, he is, though.
In terms of weight, he is, but in terms of dimensions, he isn't.
No, lengthwise, he's got a longer reach in Parker.
I'm not tolerating any Usyk hate. As a boxing fan, he gave everything.
Nobody's hating him here. We're just talking about the size of the man.
For heavyweight.
Right? I'm not tolerating. As a boxing fan, he gave me everything I asked for. So I'm not
that
shit.
Julius is turning into that old uncle that doesn't live in.
All I'm saying,
he thinks he protects a bit too much.
That's not fair, bro. Because nobody. One, it's not hype when you go to everybody's backyard, beat them, take their belt, and just repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. He deserves praise.
Troy, how are you maintaining that Usyk hasn't done much? I don't understand it. He got
No. I'm saying that cruiserweight, he's great, but at heavyweight, he's done nothing.
Yeah, but we're agreeing with that. I'm saying I haven't got a clue until he fights Derek, and so is Julius.
I don't know Troy, but Troy's is sounding a bit like he's a reincarnation of Ahmed.
I don't know who Ahmed is, but I'm agreeing with you on the heavyweight point. I'm not saying overall he hasn't done much. I'm saying at heavyweight.
Yeah, but that's consensus here, though.
I concede that Usyk is not a top 10 heavyweight. I concede that. Why?
I agree. He hasn't fought anyone.
Yeah.
He ain't fought anyone at heavyweight. And yes, it is a bit ridiculous that some people are just saying, oh, he's going to go in there and he's going to beat Joshua, or he'll beat Wilder, or he'll beat Fury, because I think it's ridiculous, and I'm an Usyk guy, right? But what I will say...
He'll beat Wilder.
Yeah, he'll beat Wilder.
So
my grandmama beat Wilder. That's just me, though.
I love how Tyson Fury beats him, and now everybody
I'm not sure Usyk's got the right style to beat Wilder.
Anyway, I'm not getting into that debate. I'm not going to get into the debate. What I am going to say, though, is normally when a person goes up in weight and they get hyped up to be able to compete with the champions is because they achieve. Normally, it should be because they achieved something in their weight division. That's extraordinary. We see people get hyped up going up 2+ weight divisions and people saying, oh, he could beat Golovkin like with Kell Brook. Some people were saying he'll beat fucking Golovkin moving up 2 weight divisions, and he beat Sean Porter. Now that's overhyped. A dude going undisputed, beating everybody else in their backyard and being an Olympic gold medalist. I'm not saying it's not overhyped, but what I am saying is to some people, especially certain casual fans, it's more understandable than other circumstances.
Listen, I saw Errol Spence stop Chris Algieri and Carlos Ocampo, and I have to wake up to he beats Canelo. Like, all right, guys, all right. He beats Canelo because of Algieri and Ocampo. You can't stop Porter. No, I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, but you need to remember.
But if my guy Usyk dominates an entire weight class inside of 15 fucking fights, oh, it's ludicrous. He doesn't stay like, nah, I know that it's difficult. I understand. But he deserves the praise. He does. He deserves the praise.
He deserves the cruiserweight, yes.
Yeah, but Troy, your guy suffered this when he moved up. Evander, a lot of people were skeptical when Holyfield moved up to heavyweight. Because
I agree with you. I agree.
Same reasons. So I think everybody here is skeptical about what Usyk can do until he does it.
Right.
Mark's point is, guys who are just title holders move up in weight, and people hype them up like they're going to beat everybody. Usyk has become a full belt undisputed champion, which is really hard.
Usyk is one of the few people who can literally say in his division, in his era, he was the guy. He was the champion.
Everybody as well.
Holyfield could say that too.
Yeah,
I said in his era. I said in his era, didn't I?
But of all the cruiserweights, it is Usyk and Holyfield. They're the only two guys who really look like they're great.
And to be honest, if I'm being honest, the heavyweights of Holyfield's era were not fucking walking giants. You know what I mean?
That's not true either. That's not true either. They were big guys. They're big.
Because if you look at it, how many of those guys? Hang on. No, full on size. How many of those guys were 6'7" to 6?
Your namesake was though, wasn't he? And big, big not Troy's, Lennox.
Yeah.
Your namesake was that size.
Yeah, Riddick, Lennox, and that's how.
Riddick? Riddick's similar size.
Riddick was about what, 6'4", 6'5"?
But he was certainly 200. Wasn't he? What was his weight? 240s.
And George Foreman is still one of the biggest heavyweights.
Riddick came in a lot of different weights, man.
yeah, I'm trying to pitch it in the middle.
Okay, let me step in here real quick because you're all talking about weights. Lennox Lewis is bigger than Deontay Wilder. Lennox Lewis is bigger than I would say he's bigger than White. I have to see them side by side, but I think he has a bigger frame.
But I'm talking about frame.
I'm talking about frame wise. You all are talking about height and stuff.
No.
Might be taller.
Lennox's weight is similar to Dillian's current
talk-
weight. He's
when you talk about size, right? Yeah. But weight doesn't mean anything. You're talking about the frame. I'm talking about because you could have a small, you could weigh a certain amount, but have a big frame.
My statements in reference to the overall, like the overall height, a combination of height, which affects your reach, the overall height and weight combination, not just this thing. There were big guys in
But
previous.
Lennox had an 84-inch reach, didn't he?
And then you have to think about,
But that was not. No. You're not going to do this, all right? Lennox was one of the big guys. There were not a lot of big guys.
No,
That's my point. That's my point.
I can name a few. I can name a few.
There's only two.
So you could probably name a handful, but that's normalcy now. You understand? The average guy running around is about 6'6" to 6'8", 250 something. That is the average guy. It's at a point to where 6'3" is small.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making.
That's okay.
Can I say something? I'm pretty sure there's only three guys above 6'4" in the top 10 ranked in Ring Magazine at heavyweight right now. 3.
That's the top 10 though. How tall is Arslan Bekmambetov?
6'5".
That sounds like a bad sandwich.
It's a great sandwich.
It's a great sandwich. Listen, I'm going to sum up what Arslan Bekmambetov is in one simple sentence. He is the unrapeable one.
Can't be raped. Now, how tall is Tony Yoka?
6'7".
How tall is
6'7".
Joe Joyce?
6'6.5".
How tall is Daniel Dubois?
6'4.5".
Yeah, he's not that tall. 6'5".
I don't know what height Effie is because they had his reach listed at like 96 inches.
Yeah, he's had a shrinking reach, isn't he?
He's got a shrinking reach, and he's actually. I remember one time I seen a listing of 6'8", and now he's gone down to 6'6" in height. So I don't know what's going on with Effie.
6'5" though, isn't he, Mark?
Effie Ajagba's size and dimensions are as legit as Luis Ortiz's passport.
Okay, how tall is Junior Fa?
Nobody cares. Junior Fa is not going to do anything.
I'm just saying that the average height of a heavyweight today has changed. They are bigger. Hergovic. What's Hergovic's height?
Okay.
What height is Tom Little?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
What height is Tom Little? What height is Sean Turner? What height is Dave Allen? What height is Kamil Sokolovsky? What height is Hemi Ahiu? What height is Lucas Rozansky? What height was Agano?
Okay. All those names that you just named, and there's a guy that's 6'3" who's actually ranked above every last one of them.
No, Mark was listed as the shorter guys.
There's a guy who's 5'11" ranked above all of them. Andy Ruiz.
Who's that?
Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz is not 5'11". He's 6'2".
Andy Ruiz is 6'3".
Yeah,
that's not legit.
Bro, he was at least 3 foot shorter than Joshua when they were beside each other. At least. He looked like Chad Mini Mendez in there next to Conor McGregor.
You probably talking about his belly is 5'11", but not him.
Troy.
When you look at him next to Joshua, who's legitimately 6'6", it wasn't 4 or 5 inches. It was 7 to 8 inches of height difference.
I think Andy's 6 foot tall. I think they've given him an extra 2 inches.
He's 6'2", man. He's 6'2".
He's listed at 6'2". He's listed
at 6'2". He ain't 6'2". He's shorter than Michael Hunter.
Michael Hunter's 6'1" or something. So he's not, no.
Standing next to each other in pictures, he was shorter than them.
No, but when you put on weight, it makes you look shorter than what you are. And as we know, he puts on weight.
Well,
he's got the belly humpback, bro.
I think you got a better argument, Troy, in that putting all that weight on may have affected his posture. Because if you don't stand up straight, that can affect your height. That could be true. But
listed heights aren't normal, aren't like Bible. Like when I see Andy Ruiz, I see a dude. I've heard people who've been next to Andy say that he ain't 6 foot.
There's a lot of rumor to suggest he's not 6'2" out there. I've heard a lot of speculation claiming Andy's around the 6 foot mark. A lot. And from different places. It is hard because, like, I'm pretty certain Vlad used to wear lifts in the face-offs. If you look at Vlad, in all of the pictures that stood next to Joshua,
that's a mad thing. That's a mad thing.
Yeah, but Vlad
listen, let me finish the statement before you rubbish it. let me finish. In all of the pictures, face-offs against Joshua, he looked taller than him in all of those pictures. In the ring, Joshua looked like he was the slightly taller man. And it's the same against Tyson Fury. The difference in the face-offs against Tyson Fury, Vlad looked like he was nearly as tall as Fury. In the ring, there was a big difference. Once those boxing boots are on, Vlad seems to shrink every time.
It's because he's got the push-ups. He's got the push-ups inside him.
That's what I'm saying, but Lennox is laughing at me.
No, I'm not rubbish. No, fam, I wasn't rubbishing it. Yeah, I was just laughing.
No, he was laughing at me laughing at you. That's what it was.
No, it's a level of mind games. Like I'm not rubbishing what you're saying. Yeah,
I think it's mind games from Vlad.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is like, fam, why are you doing lifts when you're already over 6'5"? You get me? That's why it's funny. You got to think about that. Like, and
it's mind games. It's literally mind games.
But that's what Tyson beat him, because Tyson out mind gamed him, didn't he?
Yeah, because fam is sort of like you got to be really on a psychological thing to be 6'5" and still feel like, first of all, you got problems walking into places already. You know what I mean? And then you're going to complicate that further by wearing lifts.
I thought it was all like the mind games between Vlad and Fury were amazing, but like I thought when Fury, this is just for me, I don't know if anyone agrees. You know when he was talking about that sauna, when you look at Vlad's face, the second he mentioned it, Vlad knew he was in for something, because this dude believed that and he tried to dismiss it constantly. He couldn't. Well, he looked really pissed off.
But when you hear all the other stories, Vlad used to make a point of staying in the sauna longer than everybody else. So Vlad was trying to beat everybody. And Tyson beat him at his own game. And Vlad didn't like it.
You could see that really crawled under his skin. And at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says, that click got licked.
Oh, wow. This is a family show.
Wow.
This is a family.
Yeah, Julius. I can say the words "the unrapeable one." You can back me up on it, but I can't say the clit's getting licked.
Because he can't because he can't be raped. Now, if he could be, that's
that clit did get licked. And I ain't having it. Don't try to Me Too move me, man. Don't try Me Too move me.
And I go to talk about my man Vlad like that, man. He got to wear lifts because back problems. Some shit. Oh my God, man, leave him alone.
It's for posture.
But am I the only one who's noticed it, though?
I mean,
in the face-offs, Vlad's always seems much bigger than once he's in the ring.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's people have been talking about Vlad wearing lifts for like 5-6 years.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not going insane, because I was receiving some laughter. That's all.
No, he was wearing lifts, man. I'm surprised he didn't come out with stilettos on his fucking shoes.
No, it's all just to get a psychological edge, isn't it? I mean, that's what that's about.
Well, everybody conveniently forgot about the foam that they put under the fucking ring or whatever the fuck it was for the Fury fight. Vlad was all mind games, man. I don't know what the fuck.
That's standard A-side shit, yeah.
Yeah, Vlad
is that what that was?
Too.
Yes, A-side things.
A-side, he wanted to dictate gloves, everything to Tyson, didn't he?
He wanted the A-side thing with the foam was so that Fury couldn't move around as much.
Yeah, it's to slow him down.
It didn't work.
that was to hinder his movement.
No, didn't they kibosh it though, Mark?
They did, yeah. That's why it didn't work.
Yeah. But like Vlad used to get rematch clauses from his mandatories because he'd put all his belts on the lines and say you can fight for all the belts if you give me a rematch. Vlad used to be all about the A-side tactics.
Well, that's why you get to that point. I mean, I don't knock anybody that pulls A-side tactics, because odds are those tactics were pulled on them. You don't fight that hard to be told what to do. That's just the universal principle. You don't work your ass off so that you can.
But not everybody used to do it, Julius. Ali didn't pull A-side tactics on people.
You can't use someone that's. You can't use somebody like Ali.
Hey, Ali's the biggest A-side of all time.
Yeah, he is, but it was a
Listen, Ali is
different cloth. It was pre-era.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't pull.
Ali is a Capricorn. You can only judge a Capricorn based on the actions of another Capricorn. You can't use him as an example. What the fuck was Vlad, a Libra? You can't bring up a Capricorn talking about a Libra. It's different, bro.
This
Oh,
Julius, you should literally make like a 5-minute series called The Star Sign, right? Where you just break down fighters and their
all the
temperaments on their star
fighters
sign.
based on their star sign.
Well,
I would love to see it, bro.
Now listen to this. You notice you brought up Ali, right? You notice that there's something consistent about Muhammad Ali, about Roy Jones Jr., about Alexander Usyk, about motherfucking Bernard Hopkins. There's a consistency there. Those guys have a passion or a drive because that's their nature. You know, you don't gotta tell them to do the cool shit. They want to do the cool shit. That's them. You can't compare Vlad to that. He's wearing lifts. That's not cool, bro. That's not cool. Like I don't want to.
Yeah. Hold on. You ignored somebody else that used to wear lifts, Julius.
Who?
Mike.
Who?
Mike Tyson.
Mike's not a Capricorn. His trainer was. Cuss. But Patterson was.
So yeah, but what's Mike's excuse for wearing lifts?
Well, Mike had a bad. I mean, Mike was small even. I mean, Mike was small even back then. You know,
I know. Look, I'm a bit older than you. Mike used to be on breakfast time TV when I was a kid.
Yeah, like he was a little guy. I'm actually disturbed that any man that's over 6 feet tall would wear like, well, you all right, bro? You got an inferiority complex? Fuck, that's not normal.
I'd understand Mike wearing lifts if he did. I'd understand that.
Yeah. No. I was just putting that out there because I know Julius.
I'm just saying, like you can't use Ali as a barometer for the actions of others. He's a Capricorn. It's different. It's different.
For me, A-side tactics really start with Leonard.
Yeah, my point. Yeah, you could say that, but it's been a lot of slander to my favorite fighters on this chat today. But yes, I will say.
Who are your favorite fighters apart from Leonard that we've slandered?
Leonard.
No, apart from
Leonard, Roy Jones.
I said nothing but good things.
Okay, can I carry on with the slander? Can I carry on with the slander? Ali would have toyed with Teofilo Stevenson.
Problem.
Fam, you know what? I got a meeting to go to because this is about to result in fisticuffs. Because Mark's trying to go with the Cuban thing.
I know he loves the Cubans, but that whole scenario, Teofilo Stevenson would have came in and dominated combat.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna just mute my mic and go on the Zoom meeting and let you lot keep slandering my favorite fighters. Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta shut it down. I also have to report work. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. We'll do it again tomorrow. And you know,
always a pleasure. Ioka beats Tanaka. Peace.
No, he doesn't. But you know.